For me, please. Thank you. 9 o'clock, time for a news update. Good morning, Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The chair of the Micah Action Group says there appears to be a willingness from the Housing Minister to resolve a number of issues for defective block homeowners. However, no assurances have been given. Minister Darragh O'Brien and the Department of Housing met with the campaign group yesterday, as well as Donegal County Council. The need for emergency alternative accommodation, the release of the Storage and Accommodation Alliance, the fast tracking of applications for those worst affected, the release of engineers' test fees and the formulation of a plan going forward were all discussed. Lisa Hohan says the focus remains on those who are living in uninhabitable properties.
Everybody is so familiar with this very, very unfortunate saga. People left in houses they really shouldn't be in, the frustration with the delays of the scheme, people left with monies outstanding. I mean, the list goes on, obviously, but the key focus at the moment is with particular regard to those who are living in really, really unsafe homes.
Well, defective block campaigners and homeowners are taking to the streets once again today. A protest is getting underway in Carndonagh at around midday, with plans to occupy the local public services centre. Campaigner Paddy Diver is encouraging people to come out and show their support.
We've no other option now but to resort to civil disobedience, and we urge everybody to come and support these families. We've seen all their horrific stories of their damp moles, there's bites and slabs with cracking, with one of the families with 7 children inside it. We know now's the time that these families have done no wrong.
The Marine Minister claims the vast majority of Irish fishing stocks were fished at unsustainable levels and overfished. Minister Charlie McConlogue was speaking last evening during a meeting of the Joint Committee on Agriculture, Food and the Marine. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin raised concerns about the declining seafood sector in Ireland and said statistics show the total value of fish processing has halved in the past 5 years. Minister McConlogue said quotas have remained constant.
The vast majority of our fishing stocks were fished at unsustainable levels, so we were overfishing at European level. And now the scientific data wasn't necessarily always as strong as it is now to actually know that that was the case. Where you're overfishing, you have a bigger quota. Our percentage of it has always remained the same. But we have all been trying to move to a situation where we're fishing at a sustainable yield level, so we're not taking more out.
Weather now icy today with black ice and patches of freezing fog. Further well scattered wintry showers will occur with highest temperatures of 1 to 4 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
The new VHI 360 Health Centre Carrickmines gives our healthcare members access to 5 floors of clinical expertise, including urgent care, paediatrics and state-of-the-art diagnostics, all under one roof. Visit vhi.ie. VHI Healthcare DAC, trading as VHI Healthcare, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
The Logs Band live at the Silver Tassie Christmas Party Nights, Saturday 10th and 17th of December, 9125619 to book. The Silver Tassie Hotel are sponsors of today's show.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you on this Thursday, the 8th of December of 2022. How are you keeping? I do hope you're very well on this cold and crisp morning across the Northwest. Well, a lot of you, many of you, because you tweet in and text in and call in from time to time, are at Lanzarote or the Canaries generally or other places. But anyway, if you're here in the Northwest, you know what the weather's like. You just have to look out the window. It's good to have you on board for another show. The lines are open for you right now, by the way, to get involved in your radio programme. It's 08660 25000, 08660 25000. That's good for WhatsApps, that's good for texts. Your telephone calls come into us too on 07491 25000. And come on over if you want to watch the show, if it suits your lifestyle. We're streaming live right now on Highland Radio Ireland. And also across our Facebook pages and directly in browser on our website, highlandradio.com. Should we start with some good news today? Because there was supposed to be a meeting tonight in Duncanely over concerns of lack of GP service there. It was particularly for medical card holders and others, and there was concerns over older and vulnerable people having to travel to Glentees for GP services. And it'd be a pretty treacherous journey on a morning like this morning, potentially. Well, anyway, that meeting that was due to take place tonight, I understand, has been called off because the HSE has confirmed that they have been successful in recruiting a permanent GP for Duncanely. This is really good news for the area at a time when GP recruitment is proving extremely difficult across the country, they say. We're now progressing through the contract process with the new doctor expected to be in place early in the new year. Until we have concluded that process, the interim arrangements in place for Duncanely will continue. Dr. Charles McManus is providing cover for GMS patients from the health centre in Glenties. HSE say, please note that if you need to visit the GP, you should call 074 95 57811 to make an appointment. They say the HSE is not in a position to make any further comment at this time. But the good news is that a permanent GP has been secured for the Duncanely area, and it's the surrounding areas as well. And they will take up their position early in the new year. So a positive bit of news to start things off with. Right, let's look at the newspapers this Thursday morning. The Tyrconnell Tribune, as members of the Micah Action Group prepare to occupy the council office in Carndonagh this week. Deputy Pádraig McLaughlin said that every homeowner living in hope for redress can now fully understand the government's scandalous lack of progress, given the ill-informed comments by a Fianna Fáil senator on Tuesday. Deputy Pádraig McLaughlin responded to Senator Niall Blaney's calls to Sinn Féin to pull in their dog in Donegal and have a bit of law and order. Deputy McLaughlin said that if Blaney's negativity and allegations are the only messages reaching the ears of Micheál Martin and the Cabinet, surely that explains the real reason why 5,000 homeowners in Donegal have been left out in the cold and denied access to Micah redress over the last number of years. And we have the situation in this county, and let's just lay it bare, because there's around about 10 families who are desperate. They're absolutely desperate. That's why this protest is taking place later today. They are in unfit homes. The homes have effectively been condemned. They're freezing, as you can imagine. Black mould in some of them. We've heard Paddy Differ reference some large families trying to live in under or above a very heavy bison floor, which is under threat of falling at any point. You never know with these things. And there was a meeting yesterday between the council, the Micah Action Group, and the Minister for Housing, Darragh O'Brien. And the demands, as far as I can understand, weren't great, really. They weren't massive. They're looking for 150,000 euro, effectively, isn't it? 15,000 euro for these 10 families to give them the opportunity to progress plans for temporary housing, acquire a mobile home, rent a property. I don't know, whatever it is. Anything it is. Anything they need that money to get out of their dangerous homes. Now, this is money that would come out of the grant, so this is not like a bonus. We haven't got the begging bowl out, saying, give us an extra 15 necessarily. At the moment, the way it stands, my understanding is that comes out of the overall grant. So it's just early access to this money. And that's effectively was refused. The Housing Minister is looking at a few things. I understand there were some proposals on the table. There is money in this county that's been allocated to Micah Homes. Maybe that could have been used to in this situation. I'm not sure if that was proposed. Maybe it was, but it would have been a logical solution. If that was proposed, it clearly was rejected because there's nothing coming from that meeting that is providing any certainty to these families. There's a 700 million euro underspend in the Department of Housing so far this year. In fact, I think that might just cover the first 6 months. 700 million. That's just sitting there. It's been allocated. It's not being spent. All these people are looking for is 150,000 euro. It's not a massive amount of money. 150,000 euro, and we'll hear about it in the not too distant future, was allocated to some peers. Now, peers are incredibly important, and that's also a very, very positive announcement. But that's the kind of money we're talking about. 150,000 euro to give these people, and we heard yesterday on the programme, children as young as 9 having to get counselling due to the stresses that this crisis is causing. And yet all those calls effectively, really, until such time as a decision has been made to the positive, all of those calls have fallen on deaf ears. Why? What is going on? Why is there's such an attitude towards Donegal in Dublin? There are clearly people in very advanced positions, not necessarily elected, be it in the civil service, that obviously must have it in for Donegal, because how could you refuse such a simple request? It's very worrying. Anyway, we'll talk about that as we always do, all the major issues facing our region as the day wears on. The Derry People Donegal News, brother and sister are among 6 people charged with the alleged sale and supply of drugs following Garda raids across Letterkenny. Officers swooped on 4 properties on Tuesday morning, arresting 3 men and 3 women. Mobile phones, documents and cash were also seized. The searches were carried out as part of Operation Thor, an intelligence-led initiative aimed at tackling organised crime gangs. 5 of those charged were brought before Letterkenny District Court yesterday. All were represented by Rory O'Brien solicitors, and there was a heavy police presence in courtrooms number 2 as Judge Brendan O'Reilly called each defendant. Priscilla Connors, 42, Ballymacool Woods, faces 3 charges related to cocaine dealing. It's alleged that on October 7th last year, she had in her possession at Lower Main Street, Letterkenny, the Class A drug for sale and supply. The 25-year-old is charged with the same offence at the same location on November 18th, 21, and that on December 9th at the Port Bridge, she had cocaine for sale and supply. Judge O'Reilly asked the value of the drugs involved and was told it was around about €400. The rest of the charges and details of that case are available for you in that paper this morning. The Donegal Democrat court lists in Donegal have become so lengthy they are unmanageable. The ever-expanding list is being exacerbated by the high volume of adjournments. Contested cases which are being listed for hearing are already scheduled for as far down the road as November of next year. At Monday's sitting of Letterkenny District Court alone, there were 398 criminal cases before the judge. The COVID-19 pandemic had a significant impact on the already weighty lists before the court. So yesterday alone, where's that figure? I've lost it here. Yesterday alone, there were 400 cases effectively due before the courts. You know, I think there's a lot going on there, but I think people, a lot of those people perhaps being brought before the court are innocent and have a great weight hanging over them. So it's in their interests as well as taking people who have done wrong off the streets, but those who need to go to court to be vindicated, that's moved along. That's an awful lot of people affected by a huge backlog there, isn't it? The Derry News: families across the Derry City and District have been urged to be vigilant following a spike in the number of Group A streptococcal infections or Strep A cases in the north. The advice came from the Public Health Agency and has been reiterated by Foyle MLA Mark H. Durkin following the death on Monday of a 5-year-old in Belfast, a 5-year-old girl. They've dusted off this story again about the fact that we could be having blackouts in the front of the Irish Times. Sub-zero temperatures and low wind will combine this week to put the electricity system under pressure, with EirGrid expecting the margin between supply and demand to be tight over the coming days. While sources said household supply shortfalls were unlikely, it's understood that EirGrid was close to issuing an amber alert yesterday before supply came through the interconnector between Ireland and the UK. But we don't really need to worry about this, do we? I mean, talk to us when it's going to go off tomorrow or if it's likely to go off next week. There's constant speculation, and then you read on and it's like, no, well, it may have happened, but it didn't happen, but it could happen, but it hasn't happened. But anyway, there are concerns that an alert may not be avoidable in the coming days. I don't know what an amber alert is. I know it's less than red. Talks have taken place between the government, ESB Networks and EirGrid regarding potential next steps, which could include reducing access to power for large energy users like data centres. Let's go on to the Irish Independent now. And former Fianna Fáil TD Mark McSharry faces being suspended from the Dáil over criticisms he made of last Camcorla Catherine Connolly. The Dáil's Committee on Procedures and Privileges ratified a ruling by the Camcorla Sean O'Farrell that Mr McSharry should be suspended from the Dáil for 2 days if he does not apologise to Ms Connolly. A complaint was lodged by Independent TD for Donegal Thomas Pringle after Mr McSharry accused Ms Connolly of discriminating against him during Dáil debates and not giving him as much time to speak as other independent TDs. The complaint to the Dáil Business Committee was subsequently forwarded to the CPP, which handles complaints made against members of the Dáil. And that has met, and we'll see what comes from that. Right, we're buying less petrol and diesel. I don't know how or why, but we are. Petrol and diesel sales have plummeted below pre-pandemic levels, new figures show. This is the Irish Daily Mail. The 11% drop in diesel use in October compared to a year earlier and 8% lower compared to pre-pandemic 2019 has been attributed to more people working from home, an increase in electric cars and cheaper public transport. There were 79 million litres of petrol sold in October, a 6% drop on a year ago and 10% lower than October 2019 before the pandemic, according to the Central Statistics figures. Well, that's a significant drop, isn't it? Even though some suppliers are, retailers are advertising prices much, much lower than they were at their peak, which is good to see, isn't it? Leo Varadkar's declined to comment on a video showing him socialising in a nightclub that has gone viral. The video sparked debate online. However, the Taoiseach described it as a personal matter which related to his private life and so was separate from his professional life as a politician. Enterprise Minister Varadkar was appearing at a press launch for his department's future plans for a more green and digital economy yesterday afternoon. At this event, the Irish Daily Star asked Mr Varadkar if he wished to condemn the gross intrusion of his privacy that saw a stranger film him in a nightclub. The Star understands the filming took place at a gay night in a popular Dublin city centre club last Saturday night. Mr Varadkar said in reply, "I think it's very much a personal matter, and as you say, it does relate entirely to my private life, and for those reasons, I don't want to comment on it." It's not the first time Mr Varadkar's private life has hit the headlines, and it's a tough one. I'm sure most of you have seen the video. I have to be careful with what I say about it because it is a private matter. I just wonder, I do wonder, and I suppose, and I don't truly know the answer, but if it were Eamon Ryan or Micheál Martin or Mary Lou McDonald, would it be handled the same? I'm not sure. I don't know. As I say, I really don't know. And also, obviously, people aren't talking about it publicly, but also, does it raise any questions about people's, while it's your private life, does it raise any questions then about your position in public life? I'm not saying you shouldn't be in public life, don't get me wrong, but we can't really have that debate, can we? But it's being had. It's just not being had. In the mainstream media, so to speak. The Irish the Irish Sun tells us the DUP has been urged to drop its boycott of the Stormont Power sharing institutions to help deliver energy support payments to people in Northern Ireland. MLAs met during a record sitting of the Northern Ireland Assembly in another attempt to restore the executive. The DUP's boycott is part of their campaign against Brexit's Northern Ireland Protocol, and the DUP might argue that they're winning. You know, that they're being successful in that. The protocol is being looked at. It's going to be heavily watered down, and the DUP might argue if we didn't take our stance, it wouldn't have been, and it would have been worse for Northern Ireland. Everyone's talking about the protocol now, but they would argue, I'm sure, that no one was before they decided to take the stand that they did. I'm not in any way defending it, but I'm sure they would see this as something of a victory. Airbnb and other accommodation sites could be fined up to $5,000 if they advertise lettings not registered with Fulcher Ireland under a scheme aimed at freeing up 12,000 properties for long-term rentals. Hey, we need properties for people to rent. Don't get me wrong, that's really, really important. But with so many hotel rooms being taken up, and with 12,000 rental properties effectively being taken off the market here in Ireland, where are tourists going to stay? It's an incredibly important part of our industry, particularly here in the Northwest. And if you've got many hotel rooms occupied and you've got less and less rental property available, it leaves a much smaller pool, which will get it more expensive, you can be sure of that, of accommodation for visitors, which is a big driver of the likes of our economy. That being said, we should be able to come up with a solution that satisfies both causes, shouldn't we? The priority, of course, is housing people. Don't get me wrong, I don't doubt that for a moment. Tourism Minister Catherine Martin said the bill would mean all short-term letting advertisements must be registered with the tourism body, and effectively the function of that is that they get a good register of what's out there. You have to have planning permission in certain circumstances to rent it out for a certain amount of time, and therefore people will go, you know what, it's not worth the hassle, I'll just make it available for long-term renters. That's really, I presume, where that's all going. Rightio, we are going to take a break. Our first guest, Minister Charlie McConalogue, will join us on the programme after these messages.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie Hotel, offering gift vouchers, indulgent treatments and Christmas gift sets to suit all pockets. 9126251 or email spa@silvertassiehotel.ie.
Highland Radio are on the road in 2023. Join us for our trip to Dublin on Thursday the 23rd of February to see the 25th anniversary show of Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance. This show has amazed audiences across the globe with its fusion of high energy, Irish dancing, original music and storytelling. Sit back and relax as we take care of everything.
Your trip includes luxury transfers to and from Dublin, staying at the 4-star Clayton Hotel in Dublin, including breakfast and your ticket to the show. Call us today on 074 9125,000 for more information. Show your appreciation for Donegal business this Christmas with Buy Donegal. Visit buydonegal.com to see a host of participating businesses to start your shopping list. With a range of special offers and prize giveaways throughout, Buy Donegal has something for everyone. Buy Donegal takes place from November 11th to December 24th. For more, visit buydonegal.com.
Small changes can make a big difference. A simple switch to LED lighting can save up to 80% on your energy consumption in your home or business. For more ways to be energy savvy this winter, visit esb.ie.
At Vodafone this Christmas, we're giving away loads of amazing prizes with Shake to Win on the My Vodafone app. You can win cash prizes, smartphones, vouchers for taxis and clothes shops, free return European flights and more. So if you're a Vodafone customer, all you have to do is shake to win. Woohoo! Get on the My Vodafone app and get shaking. Vodafone. Together we can.
Eligible Vodafone customers only. See vodafone.ie/terms.
Toyota Relax, our new service-activated warranty, is now available at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny in Mount Charles. Whether you bought your Toyota from us, a classified ad, or your auntie, once it's less than 10 years old with under 185,000 kilometres, you will get a 12-month warranty when you get your service at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles. For more, search Toyota Relax. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
For all your home heating needs, oil, gas and solid fuels. National Fuels, Pierce Road, Letterkenny. 9137400. National Fuels, bringing you the time at...
Time is 9:22. Now we're joined on the programme by Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConalogue. Minister McConalogue, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you on the programme. Now, 13 Donegal, we're going to talk about a couple of things, of course. 13 Donegal Pearson Harbours have been allocated €5.6 million in grants in the latest tranche of the Brexit Adjustment Fund. This is really quite a significant announcement for various communities across our county.
Yeah, it is, and I'm glad to be able to...
Okay, we seem to have a problem with that connection. We'll just see if it is restored. Stay with us. We'll get back to Minister McConalogue in a moment. There could be an internet issue, but we'll try and get that resolved for you. Just to remind you how you get in contact with us, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, or call us on 074 91 25,000. Yes, okay, the Minister is back with us now, I do believe. Minister McConalogue, sorry about that interruption. You were about to react to this announcement you were able to make.
Yeah, no, thanks, Greg, and good to be with you this morning. So, no, I was glad to be able yesterday to announce €5.6 million of new funding for piers and harbours across Donegal to support the development and improvement of 13 of our piers and harbours. And this is in addition to the earlier announcement earlier on in the year where there was about €21 million allocated to Donegal. So overall, I think we have around 30 piers and harbours now across the county, which there's significant funding allocated for, and which will make a real difference. And the other decision I announced yesterday for all of the projects across the country as well, and which will be really important to our own county, is that 95% of the cost of the investment will be covered by the government. Previously, it had been at a rate of 80%. Which was given the level of investment coming into the county, was putting a lot of pressure on the local authority to find additional funds. And I'd met with Donegal management and councillors recently, and they were outlining the pressure they're under given the various streams of funding that was coming to them. In relation to all of the projects, both the ones that I announced previously in the year and also these new ones, the grant aid will now be at 95%, which will significantly ease the pressure on the county council. I mean that the county council can spend those funds on other projects in the county instead. So yesterday, the new projects announced was the two most significant ones was Bunbeg, which is €1.2 million, and Port Salon, which is €1.5 million, which Senator Niall Blaney and Councillor Liam Blaney would have been advocating very strongly for. And also then, the other projects which are 100,000 in nature, Port Inver Pier Crane, for example, Kincashla, a new crane in Stackamore as well. And then smaller investments in some of our smaller piers and harbours like Bonagee and Moville and Ramelton, for example, too, and on Goal Island. And then also in terms of some of the projects that I announced earlier in the year, Greg, which are progressing, some of them are at a higher cost level. So I think I also allocated some fresh funding. So, for example, as one example, Glengad has had Portaline Pier has had its funding increase, and it's just under €1 million now that will be invested in that pier, as an example. So, listen, we've had a challenging time for fisheries coming out of Brexit in relation to the impact that had on quotas. I'm going now this weekend, all day Sunday and all day Monday. I'll be in Brussels for the annual fisheries negotiations and discussions, and I'm working closely with the fisheries representatives to try and maximise the amount of fish that we get for next year. But a key opportunity is to try and invest in our piers and harbours. And in terms of the €56 million now that I've committed across the country over this year, €26 million of that 56 million will be invested in Donegal, which is about 45% of the national share. And I want to recognise the work that Donegal County Council and the team there, the engineer Cal Sweeney, and with all of the team and the management indeed have done in terms of making the applications. And I know there's a lot of emphasis and pressure on them now in the time ahead in relation to delivery of them, but certainly work with them to support them in that.
What do you hope to achieve beyond where we're at now in these negotiations? I mean, obviously you don't want to preempt any negotiations. Is it maintaining the status quo, or can you see us maybe getting some allocations in areas where we don't already have, or increasing our quotas? Because we know, and you will say that you're going to go out there and you're going to fight for Irish fishers, but in reality, what are your achievable goals?
I'd be looking to improve our position and to get the best outcome we can in relation to the different stocks that we fish. So, for example, in relation to blue whiting, which is an important pelagic species, which is important for, say, killiebeggs in particular, but also some Greencastle fishermen would fish it, mostly landed into killiebeggs. There is opportunity there to increase the quota for next year, but there's also a battle fighting as well, working. Some member states can be with you, some can be against you in these battles, but in relation to the transfer that often happens to Norway, to keep that to a minimum. Over the last 2 years, I've managed to improve the level of blue whiting we get in relation to the negotiations last year and the year before. So we would have had 10,000 extra tonne of approximately of blue whiting last year and the year before that compared to previous years, because we had a good outcome to negotiations. But every year it's a new match, and basically you start with a blank sheet, and there's always the potential there to go backwards as well as forwards. So the objective this weekend will be to fight hard to try and further hold and improve our position. The other issue I'll be putting on the agenda for the first time at this December Fisheries Council meeting will be the issue of bluefin tuna, which is a really valuable fish and which is increasingly present in our waters. We didn't have a track record of catching it in the past, so we don't have a quota for it at the moment.
We did. We did a number of decades ago, though, not recently, but we did have did we not? Maybe it wasn't an official quota, but we do have a history of catching that fish.
Not in relation to commercial fishery, and the quotas for this would have been set in the early 90s. So we hadn't a track record of our national fleet fishing it at that stage. So unfortunately, as a result of that, there wasn't. We didn't have a quota allocated. But that's something I'll be putting on the table to try and fight to get our oar into that, and to try, because it is a very valuable fishery. So listen, there's lots at the moment as well. There's negotiations going on with the UK in terms of the stocks we share with them. Hopefully they'll be finalised by this weekend so that we'll be able to agree quotas at European level. But I'm working very closely with all of the fishery representatives, and most of those are going to Brussels this weekend as well, and I've been meeting them as soon as they arrive. I've been keeping in close contact, and we'll all be working together to try and improve our national position.
Also, new dog control laws. Talk to us about that, because obviously it's a story a lot of people have an interest in, and it piques interest, unfortunately, often around the time where we see awful tragic instances. So what new is happening?
So there's been a lot of development in the last number of years in relation to improved legislation around breeding and also around dog control and also around microchipping. But there's 2 or 3 different departments involved in it. I think it's fair to say as well, in terms of some of the legislation that's in place in relation to the need for any of some dangerous breeds being out in public, that the law says they must be muzzled and must be on a leash. The enforcement of that leaves a lot to be desired, I think. And, we had the horrifying incident in Wexford in the last couple of weeks where a young man was very, very badly attacked by one of these dangerous breeds. So the Taoiseach has asked me to work with the other ministers that are involved in this to see how we can clamp down further enforcement, but also look to see how we can further integrate the policy, and indeed if there's new initiatives we can take to address that. So that's something.
And what could be the options there? Because I think, dogs running off leads, and I think and other stuff. I think people would be, if you polled 100 people, I think 100 people would say there's zero enforcement at the moment. And that's probably not accurate, but that would be at least the sense. So how do we go from where we're at now, 0, to some level? Who would take a yon about sort of better funding councils to employ more people on Garda Síochána, some other agencies? So where could we go from this point of 0 to get some level of enforcement, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of variation at the moment because the enforcement is through dog wardens at local authority level, and that varies then from local authority to local authority. And some would involve and have agreements with agencies to carry out that work. I think the first step here is that there is laws in place in relation to muzzling and leads, and between local authorities, but particularly in terms of that being the law, and working with the Garda authorities as well, but also working with the public so that it becomes something that we all reject and react to.
Because it is a minority of dog owners. It's not like
a minority.
It just requires it's the same with dog fouling. It is the minority of dog owners, and then all dog owners then find themselves under the cosh or under criticism. Really, if we could just focus our attentions on targeting the small minority that are responsible for an awful lot of what we talk about, if the resources were directed in very targeted way, we could get a handle on this really quite quickly, perhaps.
I think, and also creating the public awareness of the fact that it is against the law for a number of these dangerous breeds to be out in public, not being muzzled and not with a leash. And to create that sense that if somebody's breaking the law in that regard, that there's awareness among the public that person is breaking the law and that person is putting ordinary people, other people's lives at risk by not complying with the law. So that's one thing. But also then in terms of the 3 departments, building on the legislation that's been there in the last few years, looking at how we can actually integrate that better. So that's a job of work that Taoiseach has asked me to do, in which we'll be looking at what new things we can do there, but starting very much at the outset with enforcement, Greg. The other thing, and today is Animal Welfare Day. It's something I inaugurated last year for the first time to coincide with the annual funding that the Department of Agriculture provides to animal welfare charities across the country. So today I'll be announcing as well funding for the 99 animal welfare charities across the country that depend on this funding. It's increased by 55% on last year, and it'll have doubled over the last 2 years. And they carry out massive work and very inspiring work.
Will Donegal charities benefit from that?
Donegal charities will benefit as well. The announcement will be later today in relation to the funding for each. But they punch way above their weight, because what you have is people who are very passionate about animals and their welfare coming together in voluntary charitable organisations. So that's why we're increasing the funding here.
Well, you'd wonder where we'd be at without them. So I think that's very worth it.
It really does empower them, and it's important we back that work.
Yeah. Senator Niall Blaney was speaking earlier this week, and it wasn't off the cuff. It was very considered words. Just to paraphrase, he was very critical of campaigners who are just fighting for safe homes. He accused Sinn Féin of pulling the strings effectively. He called on Sinn Féin to call off the dog. And he said that, Mike, this scheme is a good scheme and the people of Donegal want it. Do you back him in his comments?
Well, listen, I'm sure you'll be able to talk to Niall directly to discuss that. What I want to do and what my focus is at all times, and this is the number one issue for me, as it is for the Fianna Fáil team in Donegal. It's actually to step out and make sure we focus on actually.
But you're the boss up here. Do you back him in those comments? Do you think that maybe the language, given what we're living through here, do you think the language was unfortunate, or do you, whether you might not fully agree with the language, you believe the sentiment was accurate? I mean, you are the top guy here in Fianna Fáil in Donegal. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you're the de facto leader, effectively. You'd refer to the councillors as my councillors. So I'm just asking you, do you back him in his comments, or do you think maybe it was a poor choice of words?
Look, Niall is entitled to speak for himself in this, and I have no doubt he will do so, and you can speak to him on it as well.
Well, he refused an invite, unfortunately.
Listen, the key, and it's important we don't get distracted here, and I certainly won't be getting distracted.
But you understand how hurtful this was, Charlie. That's the only reason why I'm trying to drill down on it, that's all.
And listen, there's immense frustration here among families, and I have immense frustration as well at the pace at which we have made progress. It needs to happen a lot quicker, and that's my full focus. I've been sitting on the departments, working very closely to put pressure on the minister, working very closely with the local authority and with our own team of councillors to try and drive this forward. We have seen, thankfully, progress over the course of the autumn. We have the applications now being processed again by Donegal County Council, an agreement between the council and the department as to how they can be processed. We need those applications decided upon, and we need people to be able to be enabled to get on with actually building their houses. We've about 20 or so finished. We've about 40 to 50 actually under construction, but that needs to be a lot more. And over next year, my absolute focus is to ensure that I use my position as minister to work with the council and work with the department minister to actually get things moving.
Is the minister interested? Because we'll get on to that meeting. You would know there are, I think it's been identified as 10 families for clarity to sort of try and get the point across of what's going on, that they're in incredibly unsafe homes. Their homes are effectively condemned. You know the situation, black mould. You know how cold it is. All they want is the €15,000 accommodation money advanced. They're not looking for charity. They just want that advanced. My understanding is very sensible proposals were put to the housing minister yesterday in that regard that could see this happen in very, very short space of time. And nothing was signed off on. Some of those proposals were rejected for whatever reason. Okay. You know, there has to be a way to help these people. I can't help sometimes, maybe if you're being shafted a little bit in this process, what is the resistance to helping these families in the short term coming up to Christmas, that they are finding themselves forced to occupy a public building? That's been called off now because they're not opening the Carndonna public building today, so that protest is being called off. But why can't you as a minister, you know, you're announcing millions for peers, why can't you go into Darragh O'Brien's office and say, look, enough is enough, release this €150,000 or whatever it is to give these families some semblance of hope for Christmas?
And I am, Greg, and obviously you'll know that when I was in opposition, I was to the fore at all stages in terms of putting pressure on the government in terms of the pace of delivery on the previous MICA scheme and on the committees that were set up and all of that and how it was so slow over those years. When you're in government, you put pressure on as a minister with fellow ministers. I am doing that every day and every week. Also working with the county council in terms of making sure everything is being done to drive it forward too. So I have been putting this pressure on to get an answer on this. I have flagged this as an issue.
What did he say to you, Charlie? When you said to him, in my backyard, there's families in a dark. There are children as young as 9 getting counselling over this.
So and listen, this.
So what did he say to you when you said that to him?
Well, first of all, over the course of this year, we've made massive and real progress in terms of the legislation, in terms of the new scheme. The problem is it hasn't been fast enough. Now, the new scheme and the new legislation, Greg, provides for the fact that there is €15,000 available to families to help them with accommodation costs. That legislation, as you know, came in at the end of July. I worked very hard to get that legislation as strong as it possibly could be. There is an issue there with a number of families who are in houses they shouldn't be in that need that support. I've been raising that with the minister.
What did he say to you?
he understands the issue, and he's committed to resolving it. And I believe Donegal County Council will be issuing a statement today. I wasn't at the meeting yesterday; that was between the minister and the council. But the council will be issuing a statement today, I believe, updating on that. The minister has committed to me that he will. The minister is committed.
So I just want to be very sure not to give. Sorry, Charlie, I'll let you speak freely. Sorry about this, but I just want to clarify because this could be an important development. What are the council going to release a statement today saying that they've come up with a way between themselves and the minister to free up money for these families? Is that the nature of this release, as far as you understand?
The council is going to release a statement today, updating on the meeting they had with the minister yesterday. So I will allow the council to do that. But what the minister is committed to me is that he is working to ensure that the legal mechanism is put in place to release this funding as quickly as possible, and absolutely accepts that it is necessary. As I say, the legislation which was provided for, which we passed at the end of the summer, facilitates that €15,000, but it needs to be released to everyone immediately, because there is a small number of people who are in houses which they shouldn't be in, and we have to get them moved out. The other issue I've been raising with the minister is in relation to modular housing and ensuring that we get a pathway forward in terms of facilitation around that, and that's really important that we get progress. And also in relation to releasing the €6,000 to those who applied post-February of this year to make sure that they can get it.
What did he say to you when you raised the issue of
in relation to that as well to be released before in advance of Christmas?
Brilliant. Okay, so just to be clear, that's €6,000 to be returned before Christmas. What did he say to you? Because we had spokespeople or representatives of the government or people with the ear of the government saying modular housing was not being considered as a solution to this crisis. What did the Minister for Housing say to you when you pressed him for this to be considered?
What I have been saying to the minister is that modular housing must be considered, and I've been saying that since after we got the legislation in place, because the key thing now is ensuring that there is the capacity there and the accommodation for people while their houses are getting fixed. I know that's an issue that was discussed with the council again yesterday. I'm confident that there is going to be a pathway forward in relation to modular housing, but the council will be able to update in relation to their meeting with the minister in that regard. We need to have that capacity. I think there's a real role for modular housing here. It is something I've been adamant on working with the minister, and I believe it's something we're going to see progress on now.
Are the people not necessarily in elected positions working against Donegal, Charlie, do you believe?
No, I don't, Craig. Listen, the frustration is massive. My frustration has been, and impatience is massive around this as well. Everyone's is. It can't happen quick enough. We've had delays and logjams we shouldn't have had, and that we've worked hard to resolve. But there is a very strong commitment. I mean, the Taoiseach has shown great leadership and has been a great support in relation to this from the outset, in relation to establishing the committee to identify the challenges and in terms of driving this through. So, no, there is a very strong and commitment from the government to deliver.
Well, do you think the likes of
actually getting it all moving? And
do you think the likes of the Attorney General could be more sympathetic to the plight of people in Donegal? In terms of progressing some of these quite simple measures.
No, I can assure you, and I spoke to the Attorney General in the last couple of days again around this issue in relation to unlocking legal issues, and he has been massively helpful. The problem here is, it not having moved quick enough. But there was a very positive meeting between the Minister and the Council yesterday, also a positive meeting between the Minister and the Chair of the MICA Action Group as well. I have been working very closely with the County Council and with their team of councillors. I'll be meeting the Council again, management tomorrow with my team of councillors and with Senator Niall Blaney. I've been meeting them on an ongoing basis since September to step out the legislation at the end of July and to make it all happen, and then putting maximum pressure on the Minister and the Department of Housing to deliver. That has resulted in, thankfully, at long last, too long after, unlocking that logjam in relation to the processing of applications. The other issues now is around the modular homes, the €15,000, and also getting it back and making sure that people get the answers.
Well, this protest has had to been called off. My understanding is today people were so desperate that we're going to sleep out in tents and in sleeping bags. So to those people, maybe it might give them some peace over the weekend that they might not have to take this action next week. When do you expect this €15,000 to be released to these families, the most desperately needed needed families in most desperate need, Minister. When do you expect that money to be released to them, be it freeing up Micah money that's already with the council, or be it coming directly from Dublin, whatever the solution might be? When do you expect a positive announcement in that regard?
Listen, the minister has committed to me that he is working to get to unlock that and to release it. It should have been done before now, Greg. I've been working to get it done before now. I can't answer when it will
If I had
be,
€150,000, I'd give it to them now and wait on Darragh O'Brien to come up with it.
Listen,
We're talking about pittance here, Charlie.
I expect a very imminent outcome, and I've been working and engaging with the minister every day and every week for the past period of time on this. So my view is it should have happened before now, but the minister has committed to doing it, and listen, and is working with the council around it.
The new scheme, as it's to be introduced next year, and we do hope it is, and I don't want to rake over old ground, but I haven't had it on the record from you in quite some time. Is the new enhanced scheme a 100% redress scheme?
Well, I mean, we all fought to get the strongest scheme possible and to get the full cost for people covered, Greg. The scheme is, the terms and conditions are what it is. It depends on the quotes that families get. It doesn't include certain things such as, cartilages, garages, etc. So listen, what's clear is the massive changes that have been there. The fact that there's €425,000 now, maximum grant. The fact that there's the updated costings, which will be updated again at the start of next year. I fought massively hard just to get it as strong as it possibly could be. Homeowners fought massively hard for that, and we achieved what we did from that.
Okay.
And I think it's a massively strong scheme. I think if we can get it moving, and if we can get people with their approvals, if we can get more than the 20 that are currently, the people that I meet that have had their houses fixed are delighted with how it's worked out. They're able to get on with their lives. We need to get hundreds and into the thousands then in the same situation as those 20 are.
What do we do for the
under construction?
What do we do for the families? And I'm thinking particularly older people, who've worked their asses off for this country over their entire lives, who don't have access to money to make up the shortfall between what money will be available to them and the actual... we have this ridiculous situation where they can't even downsize to maximise what grant they have available. What's your message as a representative of the government to them who effectively, with this not being a 100% redress scheme, that it's not a scheme for them? Everyone's worked really, really hard, but what about the families? And I'm thinking particularly of the older people who this scheme actually is no use to them now.
I think, Greg, as people get through this scheme and as people get into it and get their contracts, people will see that actually the strength of the costings that are there will very strongly and hopefully in many cases actually cover the cost of fixing homes. The key thing is actually now making the scheme work, getting it rolled out. I think as people get to see it and get to understand it, they will realise that it actually is a scheme which is facilitating them. What we do need to ensure as well, and this is something I spoke to as recently as yesterday with the Minister on, is making sure in relation to how the banks are working in facilitating homeowners that there is a clear relationship there and clear protocols in place. The Minister has engaged with them, but more needs to be done. I spoke as recently as yesterday to him again on that. But I think those that have come through and have had their homes fixed are happy with how it's went. We need the new scheme up and running, and I think as people get to work with it, it will be a really strong scheme, which in many cases, I believe, will actually cover the cost of the work that's being done. But listen, we have to drive it on now. We have to deliver it. We have to get rid of all the delays. We have to get rid of the frustration, and we have to make it all happen. And that's my focus, and that's all of the Fianna Fáil team's focus. And I know it's every public representative in Donegal's focus. And it's also a commitment of the government too.
All right, I'll give you the last word. Thank you very much for that, Minister. I appreciate it. Good luck with those negotiations next week. That is the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Minister Charlie McConalogue. 086 60 25,000.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
New solar grant aid available for farms. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
We have details and grants for farm roadways, underpasses and solar panels. Backlash over Suckler Coal proposals. Tens of thousands apply to acres, but will they all get in? We reviewed the best crushes and handling units for your farm. Plus, don't miss a 36-page farm machinery price guide with the best machines for each sector.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Looking to gift the perfect trainers for Christmas? Check out our new arrivals, winterized trainers with a waterproof upper from all your favourite brands. Hoka, Asics, Brooks, and the new favourite, On Running, gives you a unique comfort sensation. Give the gift of sport this Christmas, in-store and online at bmcsports.ie.
It's the Christmas show that has everyone talking. A roller coaster of emotion, says Evoke.ie. An instant Christmas classic, says the Irish Examiner. Relive the most magical night of the year with Toy Show the Musical. Toy Show the Musical at the Convention Centre Dublin. Book now at rte.ie/Toy Show the Musical.
I'll make this our special night and everyone will see.
At Irish Community Air Ambulance, we respond quickly to emergencies. The first thing our medical volunteers ask is, how can I help? Now we need you to ask, how can I help? Can you help us equip our medical responders with vital life-saving equipment? Can you help us bring the hospital to the roadside or to the home? Can you help us save lives? When time is critical, we bring hope. This Christmas, help us bring hope to more people and save more lives. Please donate at communityairambulance.ie.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas trees, decorations and all types of lights. Everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's. Our biggest and best Christmas shop has outstanding value on lights and trees. There really is something for everyone at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Paul's Venue Letterkenny presents the fantastic Whistling Donkeys this Saturday, December 10th. Doors open at 9 p.m, pay at the door. It's sure to be another great night with the Whistling Donkeys this Saturday night at Paul's Venue Letterkenny.
All right, the council offices in Carndonagh are closed today. Today was the day where a sit-in protest was going to be held. Direct action is being called. Paddy Differ, defective block home owner and campaigner. Paddy, I suppose the protesters have been left with no choice. There's no point sitting outside. The whole idea was to occupy the building. That building's not opening today.
No, Greg, the building's not opening today. I'm standing down here outside it here myself, looking to see if I can get talking to one of them. But no, the building's closed, so the protest is cancelled. So it is. It'll be continuing tomorrow. So, well, Greg, this building's been closed for the first time in over 20 years. The staff's been sent home without pay. But at the same time, we're not here just campaigning for the sake of campaigning. This here was to prevent a tragedy, so it was. That's what this was. Civil disobedience to prevent a tragedy for these family homes. So we're just not going to stop because they close the building today. It's going to continue on to tomorrow. And if they cancel tomorrow, Greg, then we're going to go to Lufford next week. Lufford is a bigger, more important building. And the campaign's not going to stop. The Minister of Housing has a chance to stop this. And with this building being closed, I'm sure everybody in the department knows all about it now. And they have a chance to end us here.
Well, Minister Charlie McConnell said in the last few minutes, Paddy, that an announcement on the €15,000 and some other demands, I understand, is imminent, that the council may be releasing a statement later. I'm not sure if it's off the back of that meeting yesterday, because I'm not sure anything was agreed at it, or if there's been subsequent dialogue. If a positive announcement is made today or tomorrow for these 10 families that have been identified really as the most needy at this time in the lead up to Christmas, would that be enough to defer this action till after Christmas at least, Paddy?
Oh, Greg, it definitely will. 100% it will. Some of these families, Greg, that was coming here today, there was 8 of the families was coming to this council office today. There was another 6 of them that weren't fit to come to this council office today, Greg, because they're mentally and utterly drained. They're lost in the will to live. It's so heartbreaking to talk to these people, and that's why that I was urging the public to come and support them. But to answer to your question, it will be. All we wanted yesterday was a written guarantee, a written statement, and it wasn't given. And the Donegal County Council put out their press release, and there's nothing on that on it. Mike Action Group was on talking to the department officials yesterday, and they says, no, we can't give a commitment to that, we'll talk later. So listen, if it takes the public, and it just shows that the people pressure and that's civil disobedience, and what happened up in Lufford, and what everybody's doing on the radios, on the TVs, and the Twitters, that it does make them listen. And by closing the government building, of course that's making them listen. And if they come out today and they grant the demands till these 10 emergency families, well listen, we will take a step back and let the council start getting the cogs in motion and start getting a scheme going and see if we can get a progress plan. We're not going to campaign for the sake of campaigning every day. This is only to prevent a tragedy, Greg. That's all it is.
Okay, well, we'll watch with interest. I think we can. I hope we can expect something today or tomorrow. I really do. I don't think it can be ignored because, in the wider scale of things, Paddy, the money is pittance. It's an embarrassingly small amount of money. The 700 million euro sitting in the housing department's bank account that's underspent. The council have hundreds of thousands of euro for the old redress scheme sitting gathering dust. You know what I mean? The money is there. It just requires the will to get it to these people.
Exactly. The council themselves have got they've got the money sitting there. The government's got money sitting there. It just defies belief that after all these times, after being in Sharon Moss's house, some of them government officials have been in Sharon Moss's house, and they expect her to sit on for a second Christmas. Like, that's not a Christmas. Everybody's supposed to enjoy waiting on a Christmas. These families and these children, they're dreading Christmas. Imagine sitting on a Christmas dinner and eating your Christmas dinner, and you looking around you with damp mould and cracks in a bison slab. What kind of a planet are these governments on? That's why we're doing what we're doing, and we'll continue to do what we do until they get us over the line.
Yeah, right. Well, let's hope it happens today or tomorrow. It has to happen. This is a humanitarian crisis. You know what I mean? And just something has to be done. Paddy, listen, hopefully you'll get out of the cold today. I know you're very determined. You as a group were very determined to make that, to have that protest today. But what can you do if the building's closed? Go ahead.
Just one last thing, Greg. Just make sure and just make everybody nice and clear to everybody. Please don't come to the Donegal County Council offices today, because we're not going to be standing outside here protesting all day. I don't expect the people to come and stand out in the freezing cold and the building closed. So it's completely cancelled today, but it's back on tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
All right, take care. We'll see. Hopefully there's an update today. Paddy Diver there on that issue. 086 60 25,000. We'll be back with the weather before the news after these.
The 9 till noon show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea, dinner and drinks throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
Bill, ní onan gach léirú I ní smóna chuige anmh timp na héireann or na muoinú I go gcóir le Alain. Téigh léirú Bill the Campersa. Could the hick the Nori? Inyo. Tá Hashclip live is muoinethe I go gcóir le Alain.
If you're about to use an electrical appliance, like your hairdryer, which uses a lot of energy, just ask the question, is this a good time?
Yeah, electricity demand's fairly low. You're looking good.
If it's before 5 p.m. or after 7 p.m, it is a good time because it's outside of peak hours when less of us are using electricity at the same time. To find out the best times for your electricity usage, sign up to our pilot at esbnetworks.ie/pilot.
Swing into Christmas with the Rat Pack, live at the Griannan Theatre Letterkenny December 14th. Direct from London's Leicester Square, and for one night only, enjoy classics from Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin. Tickets from Anne Griannan Theatre box office and annegriannan.com. Presented by Joe Gallagher Entertainments.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
At Ulster Bank, we have now begun to close current and deposit accounts. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. You must take action now. If you are still relying on your personal or business bank account and in need of support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Treat your pets this Christmas at Gary's Pet World, Letterkenny. You will find a large selection of gifts, toys and Christmas selection boxes, together with delicious after-dinner treats for all your cats and dogs, with great value on pet food and accessories. A trip to Gary's Pet World is a must this Christmas. Call in and see for yourself or log on to petworld.ie.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
OK, so as you would know, it's an icy start to Thursday. Black ice and patches of freezing fog leading to hazardous travel conditions. Further well-scattered wintry showers will occur in the morning, with a light dusting of snow on some lower levels. Sunny spells will follow. It's very hard to give it's going to be 1 to 4 degrees today. It's very hard to give a weather forecast because we've got microclimates all over the place. On the way to work today, I travelled in -3, +2, 0. The weather's different wherever you are, so I suppose use common sense when out and about. Right, we'll see if it comes to pass. We're going to take a break now for the news and obituary notices. Stay right where you are. Loads to come in the next 2 hours.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. Defective block campaigners and homeowners have scrapped plans to protest in Carndonagh today after Donegal County Council closed the Public Services Centre there. Campaigners had intended to occupy the centre as part of their renewed campaign to highlight the pressures they're facing, particularly in the case of those whose homes are now unsafe. Campaigner Paddy Diver says the protest will take place tomorrow instead.
But no, the building's closed, so the protest is cancelled. So it is. It'll be continuing tomorrow. So it will, Greg. This building's been closed for the first time in over 20 years. The staff's been sent home. At the same time, we're not here just campaigning for the sake of campaigning. This here was to prevent a tragedy. So it was. That's what it was. Civil disobedience to prevent a tragedy for these family homes. So we're just not going to stop because they closed the building today. It's going to continue on to tomorrow. And if they cancel it tomorrow, Greg, then we're going to go to Lufford next week.
Meanwhile, Minister Charlie McConalogue told Greg on today's 9 till noon show he believes these issues will be resolved very shortly. He says there is a willingness on the part of Minister Darragh O'Brien to engage.
But what the Minister has committed to me is that he is working to ensure that the legal mechanism is put in place to release this funding as quickly as possible, and absolutely accepts that it is necessary. As I say, the legislation which was provided for, which we passed at the end of the summer, facilitates that €15,000, but it needs to be released to everyone immediately, because there is a small number of people who are in houses which they shouldn't be in, and we have to get them moved out. The other issue I've been raising with the Minister is in relation to modular housing and ensuring that we get a pathway forward in terms of facilitation around that, and that's really important that we get progress. And also in relation to releasing the €6,000 to those who applied post-February of this year to make sure that they can get it.
Well, Minister McConalogue told Greg over the course of that interview he anticipates a statement today from Donegal County Council updating people on the situation. Well, we have received a statement from Donegal County Council. They and members of the Micah Action Group met with Minister Darragh O'Brien online yesterday. They had a lengthy discussion. And as I say, we have received that statement from Donegal County Council with more detail on it. Here's Michaela Clark.
In a statement, Donegal County Council says the delegation that met with the Housing Minister highlighted concerns in relation to a number of families who require immediate emergency assistance. In particular, the need for the €15,000 grant to be made available urgently was emphasised. The Minister agreed to provide clarification soon and to hold further discussions on modular homes. Minister O'Brien welcomed the progressing of Stage 1 applications, with 54 approved since clarification was issued. It was agreed that where the Council cannot approve applications, they will be referred to the Housing Agency. It was confirmed also that the regulations for the enhanced scheme would be drafted by January. The Minister also plans to facilitate payment of Stage 1 fees to those who submitted applications since February 2022 as quickly as practically possible. Darragh O'Brien indicated that there would be further engagement shortly on the need for emergency assistance for some homeowners.
Over €1.8 million in funding has been confirmed for the upgrading of 18 community centres in Donegal. Grants of between €25,000 and €300,000 will be available under the new Community Centre Investment Fund to upgrade, renovate and refurbish community centres, parish halls, scouts clubs, youth hubs, family resource centres and sports complexes. Some of the projects in Donegal due to benefit include Cool Cranford, Oak Tree Business Park and Sports Complex and the Community Centre in Letterkenny. The HSE has written to schools warning of a significant increase in the circulation of viral infections. GPs have been urged to be vigilant for the signs and symptoms of Strep A common bacterial infection that can cause severe illness in serious cases. Common signs include fatigue or a fever that persists despite treating the child with Calpol or paracetamol. The HSE's Chief Clinical Officer, Colm Henry, says serious cases of Strep A are very rare.
We're seeing a constellation of viruses, and of course we see the concern over streptococcus. Worth noting, the great majority of cases are mild infections, sore throat. People are used to that. The scare currently relates to what's invasive group A streptococcus, which is a very rare condition. The numbers we've seen so far this year still haven't reached pre-pandemic levels, so it's important to put the concerns people have in perspective.
Weather forecast: an icy start to the day with black ice and patches of freezing fog leading to some hazardous travel conditions. Further well scattered wintry showers occurring this morning. A light dusting of snow possible on some lower levels. Sunny spells will follow, with wintry showers becoming confirmed to northern coastal areas. Top temperatures 1 to 4 degrees Celsius in light northerly or variable breezes. Tonight, Met Éireann tell us we'll see treacherous conditions with a severe frost setting in quickly after dark, along with some icy stretches. Mostly dry with a few wintry showers possible, bitterly cold. Lowest temperatures -5 to -2 degrees Celsius in a light northerly breeze. Some freezing fog as well. Tomorrow, Friday, it'll start again very cold with icy stretches, freezing fog in parts. Most areas dry with low winter sunshine. However, wintry showers affecting some coastal areas, possibly heavier thundery near the coast. Top temperatures tomorrow ranging 1 to 4 degrees Celsius in light northwest or variable winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, have a very good morning.
The obituary notice says for this Thursday morning, December the 8th. The death has occurred of James Jim McAuliffe, Bicester, Oxfordshire, England, and formerly of Bollamore and Pal, Kanturk, County Cork. James's remains will be reposing at the home of his sisters-in-law, Kathleen and Breach Grant, Castle Cooley, Burt, this afternoon from 3 o'clock. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 to St Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to St Angus's Church Fund, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of James Elliott, 28 Patrick Road, Ardygarvan, and formerly of 79 Berry Hill Road, Donamana. The house is private, please. Funeral leaving his home this afternoon at 1:15 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, at 2 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the Sacred Heart Cemetery, Derry Road, Strabane. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Alzheimer's Society, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Charlie Kern, 11 Abbeyview, Rathmullen. Remains will repose at his home from 6 o'clock this evening. Funeral Mass on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock in St Joseph's Church, Rathmullen, with burial afterwards in Rathmullen Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on mcnmedia.tv. Family flowers only, donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. And the death has taken place of Maureen Murphy, née Regan, Matterpass, Beechwood Avenue, Letterkenny, formerly of Clonlumney, County Roscommon and South Africa. Maureen's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there today, going to St Junan's Cathedral for 12 noon Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv, followed by interment in Cornwall Cemetery. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations if wished to Mary's Meals, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. 086 60 25,000 is our WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Right, let me see. Something I wanted to mention for you. Maybe you are struggling to figure out what to get someone for Christmas this year, are you? Well, for €100 before Christmas per person, you could be giving someone a fantastic gift. It's a trip to to Dublin with us on Thursday the 23rd of February of next year, so it's not too far away, in the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre, because Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance 25th anniversary show is taking place, and we are taking all the headaches in terms of travel and accommodation and tickets. We're taking that all away from you. So, as I say, the reason I'm mentioning this is because maybe you're struggling to come up with a nice gift for someone for Christmas. So let me give you a little bit more detail. The price of this trip is €265 per person sharing. €100 per person booking deposit to secure a place is required, but that means, you effectively have your present sorted for Christmas. Now, the price includes transfers to and from Dublin in luxury transport, so you don't have to worry about parking fees, petrol and diesel, tolls. We sort all that out. You don't have to worry about trying to book a hotel room in Dublin, because we've got overnight stay, including your breakfast, in the 4-star Clayton Hotel in Dublin, of course, and it's right beside the theatre. And also, you have a ticket to the show. The trip will include time in Dublin City the morning after the show before travelling back to Donegal. So there you go, €265 per person sharing for all of that. There's a €70 single supplement, which is unavoidable. The hotels administer that or suggest that has to be paid. But anyway, €265 per person sharing for the most part. A deposit of €100 secures your place. And as I say, we look after everything else: your accommodation, your ticket, your luxury transport, petrol, diesel, I was going to say flights, tolls, all of that stuff. We'll sort that out for you as part of that. So get in touch with us right now, by the way, if you're interested or you just want more details. You can call us on 07491 25,000, 07491 25,000, and Katie actually will talk you through that. And any other further questions you have, she will be able to answer them for you. All right, so tomorrow on the programme, we are giving away... What are we giving away? €100 of a Shop LK voucher. And get your Shop LK vouchers as gifts or whatever it is, because you're shopping local too and supporting local businesses that support us through fundraisers and all that type of stuff. When I say us, I mean us, the community. But we're giving a €100 Shop LK voucher away tomorrow, just in time for your Christmas shopping over the weekend. And we're just having a bit of fun with it, really. It's a quiz. Say what is what we call it, or what I call it. No one else does. I call it. So what we do is we play a clip from some show from Highland Radio. Today it's The Naughty Alarm Clock with Lee Gooch. And this is a short one. I'm trying to make it a bit more difficult. We've got 2 people already in for the voucher, and I'd like to keep it close to maximum 3. But anyway, we'll see. Tomorrow and today, we could have another 2. Then it's a 1 in 4 chance that people would have. So what is the missing word here? Just text in 086 60 25,000 with your answer, your name and where you're from. What is the missing word here?
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
All right, so I think that must have been a fact of the day. Here it is. What's the missing word from the Naughty Alarm Clock every morning from 6:30?
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
What could the answer be? Could be many things. All right, if you think you know what the missing word is there, say what. Text 086 60 25,000 with your answer, your name, and where you're from. If you get through, hopefully you'll get a mug. We might even have a ticket for the car draw going. We'll see what we can do. But anyway, if you get on air, we'll at least give you a mug. And you will be in with a chance of winning that €100 Shop OK voucher tomorrow.
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
What do we have far too many of? It's jackpot day in the bingo. Here's the numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday the 8th of December. Jackpot day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €12,800 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 49. The jackpot number is 35. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 58, 31, 56, 6, 29, 17, 2, 1, 26, and finally 46. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
For great fuel deals, contact Gortley Sales and Hire. Large sacks and trailer loads of logs. Also briquettes, coal, kindling and gas with free delivery locally. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126276.
Hi, Dad.
Just popping on to say hi, love.
How did you manage to video call?
I'm a bit of a computer whiz these days.
I can see that.
And it's not just video calls. With High Digital's free online course, Paddy also learned to do the grocery shopping. And you can too.
So how are you, Dad?
Hang on, I've a very funny gift to send you. Or is it GIF?
Learn essential online skills today at highdigital.ie. Brought to you by Vodafone Ireland Foundation, Active Retirement Ireland and Alone. Vodafone, together we can.
Save hundreds of euros on custom charges when doing your Christmas shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges this Christmas with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
This Christmas, fraudsters will target people shopping online. That's why Bank of Ireland are looking out for your financial well-being. Remember, stop, think, check. Stop. Don't just click any old link. Think. Bank of Ireland will never send you texts or emails asking for your full 365 PIN or one-time passcode. And check, using their exclusive text checker by sending the word check followed by the Bank of Ireland message to 50365. For more info, search Bank of Ireland Security. And together, we won't let the fraudsters win.
Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
From the smallest shrub to the largest tree in an awkward place, Donnelly Tree Services provide a complete range of tree surgery services. Whether you need to remove a dangerous tree or some nuisance branches, Donnelly Tree Services have the experience and expertise to carry out tree surgery to the highest of professional standards. Call 083 005 9939. Donnelly Tree Services, Donegal. No job is too small, no tree is too tall.
Get to Meehan's Offer Full. Large selection of slim, straight and bootcut jeans from €35. Also men's shirts and polo shirts in sizes up to 6XL. Plus a large range of diesel hoodies, half zips and body warmers at Meehan's Offer Full. Christmas gift vouchers available.
Okay, so residents and people with a connection to Annagree are being invited to share their views on the future development of the village. A project is underway to seek people's ideas for the improvement of life in the village. This could be anything from footpaths to parks to health centres and more. And really, I suppose when you give examples, you don't want to be precluding everything else as well. So it literally is whatever you imagine might improve the area. Breach Glynn is secretary of the Annagree Tidy Towns Committee. What a beautiful part of the world Breach, you as a Tidy Towns group have to work with. Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, Greg. Yes, we're very lucky. Annagree is a lovely village to live in. We're situated in a great area, right beside Donegal Airport in the Wild Atlantic Way, heart of the Gaeltacht. So we get lots of visitors here in the summer, yeah.
All right, so talk to me about this process that's been gone through.
Okay, so this is initiated by ourselves, Councillor Michael Collum and Nori McGarvey, and James McDevitt, proprietor from Cashinor. We got together just discussing future developments and enhancements for Annagree. And so with help from Donegal County Council, they suggested to carry out a health check. So Paul Doherty Architects are conducting this health check. So really what it is, it's a public survey, and we invite as many in our local community, visitors to the area, anyone with a connection to Annagray to participate in the survey.
Yeah, and the whole idea of something like this too, Breach, isn't it? It's to improve and to enhance, but to do it in a way where you have consensus, and that is an advantage. Then it doesn't take away any of the beauty or the positives of the area, and that's why we go through processes like this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so important to get everybody's feedback, and from this then to identify any strengths and weaknesses in our village, and hopefully to make the right improvements that everybody is happy with.
Yeah, and you need a plan, don't you, Breach? You need a plan before you can go sort of seeking funding or campaigning with the council or what have you. You need a plan, and that's what this is about. So some of the things...
this is what it's about, sure.
Yeah, sorry, Breach. There's a slight delay in the line, and it appears like we're speaking over each other, but we aren't. It's just the line. Right, so who's involved then in this survey? So whose ears will we have if we take part in it online, if we have a connection or are from Annagray, or if we call into some of the drop-ins, which we'll mention as well, one in fact taking place tomorrow. So who's all involved in this process?
Okay, well, it's been conducted by Paul Doherty Architects with help from Donegal County Council. Annagray Tidy Towns are involved, Councillor Michael McGlaspick, James McDevitt, Rory McGarvey. The questionnaire is accessible online. There's a link shared on our Tidy Town page, and it has been shared in various other group pages and business websites. It's very easy to fill out. It's about 20 questions. Just tick the box or add extra comments, give whatever opinions you have. So important to get this feedback. Yeah. And then the drop-in centres tomorrow is from 10:30 to 12:30 at two venues in Annagray, at the Cope Food Store and also at Time and Tide coffee shop. So anyone that wouldn't have access to online, to come along, fill out the questionnaire and give as much feedback as you can.
Yeah, and just to give an idea... Sorry, I beg your pardon, Breach. Just to give an idea of some of the things people are talking about here, a state-of-the-art health centre would make an awful lot of sense. A play area for younger people, a youth centre too for younger people. In terms of infrastructure, a pathway to the airport would make an awful lot of sense. Linking the village better to the sea. Things like that, kind of obvious stuff, but still requires as much public input as possible, and anything else too that people can suggest or come up with. But those are I think the kind of a lot of the stuff is kind of obvious for any area that wants to sort of maintain and grow.
Yeah, exactly. And like with our Tidy Town group, we do a lot of work in Annagray, and it's a small committee, but they do their best, and we do, we take on little projects every year. But to do bigger projects, under town and village renewal scheme, there's more funding available. So this is a key part of the process in obtaining this funding. And to have everybody on board in the parish and the surrounding areas.
Okay, so on Friday, the 9th of December, tomorrow, between 10:30 and 12:30, at the Cope Food Store in Time or Tide, you can drop in and have your say, or you can fill out the online form, which is shared on the Annagray Tidy Towns Committee and other groups and pages as well. And this is the type of thing, as many people as possible. The more people that are involved in this conversation, the better the outcome will be breached, the better consensus there'll be.
Yeah, and to get the youth involved as well, because it's for their future, to make it even a nicer place to live in. And I'm sure it's things, to have fresh ideas that we mightn't think of, that they may see that they would like to have in their area. So it's very important for all age groups to get involved. And it can be filled out in both Irish and English.
Excellent stuff, Breach. Well done. As I say, you already have a beautiful area. This is just about maintaining and enhancing for those living there. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much, Greg. Go reminded.
But now, Breach Glynn there is the Secretary of the Annagray Tidy Towns. It'd be great to see a big turnout for that and a big participation. Okay, right, so it's Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, children singing and all that stuff, right? So we've got loads of giveaways for you. We have our Say What competition that's running at the moment, and thanks to our friends at the Silver Tassie as well. The Silver Tassie is a beautiful hotel. It also has the Seascape Spa. We're giving you the chance to win their winter Essence package. So what does that involve? Well, you can enjoy pre-treatment relaxation in the cocoon room, a relaxing hot towel foot and back cleanse, an express hot stone back massage, a mini escape facial with face and scalp massage, an indulging warm oil reflex foot massage, all followed up with refreshments and time to unwind post-treatment in the Seascape Spa snooze room. And you will be snoozing after that pampering session. To be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize tomorrow, simply answer this question. According to Frank Sinatra and others, what is the weather like outside? Is it frightful or delightful? Is this weather frightful or delightful? So the weather outside is... Okay. Is the weather outside frightful or delightful? It'll only cost you your time to enter. You can WhatsApp or text your answer. And for most of you, the majority of you, that is free, of course, to 086 60 25,000. Why wouldn't you enter? If you don't want it yourself, and why wouldn't you? I would love it. It sounds fantastic. You can gift it to someone as well. So all you have to do is text us in. According to Frank Sinatra, what is the weather like outside? Is it frightful or is it delightful? Text your answer, your name and where you're from to 086 60 25,000. And thanks to our great friends at the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa, you could win their Winter Essence package. And of course, you don't have to wait to win. You can call up the Silver Tassie Hotel and book that for yourself. Again, I'm trying to help here, and maybe I'm talking mostly to men here. Is that inappropriate? These are all fantastic gift ideas. If you've got someone in your life and you say, well, what can I get them? I defy anyone to not be absolutely over the moon if you bought them the Winter Essence package. They would go, wow, you really think about me. You must love me. So there you are. I'm doing my bit for you guys, but not just guys, of course, for anyone out there. Right, let us take a quick break, and we'll be back with our next guest on this Thursday morning's 9 till noon show.
The 9 till noon show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea, dinner and drinks throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
The new VHI 360 Health Centre Carrickmines gives our healthcare members access to 5 floors of clinical expertise, including urgent care, paediatrics and state-of-the-art diagnostics, all under one roof. Visit vhi.ie. VHI Healthcare DAC, trading as VHI Healthcare, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Teagasc will hold a meeting for sheep farmers this Thursday, the 8th of December at 7:30 p.m. in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Topics will include the new €12 per ewe sheep improvement scheme, scab control and Eurostar rams. All welcome.
New solar grant aid available for farms. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
We have details and grants for farm roadways, underpasses and solar panels. Backlash over Suckler Cull proposals. Tens of thousands apply to acres, but will they all get in? We reviewed the best crushes and handling units for your farm. Plus, don't miss a 36-page farm machinery price guide with the best machines for each sector.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Did you see Fran's letter to Santa?
No. Dear Santa, I want a dolphin. Real one, please. And a donut as big as a car.
Dunnes Stores can make Christmas for almost everyone. Whether you dream of amazing food, a beautiful tree, or the presents underneath it, we've got you covered. Except for dolphins and car-sized donuts. We'll leave that to Santa. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores.
This week in Home Store and More, all Christmas tree lights are still all half price. Choose from our wide range of Christmas tree lights with over 100 different types and colours. Find just the right tree light for you from 20 to 2,000 bulbs, all half price. Like save $64.50 on our top-selling 2,000 warm white cluster lights. That's right, all our Christmas tree lights are all half price. But hurry, because when they're gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More, a happy home.
Hi, I'm Angela. Are you on a date that isn't working out? Is your online date not who they said they were? Does it all feel a bit weird? Do you feel like you're not in a safe situation?
Wherever you see the Ask for Angela signs or posters, know that the establishment supports the Ask for Angela campaign. The Ask for Angela campaign is supported by An Garda Síochána, the Joint Policing Committee, Donegal County Council and the Vintners and Hoteliers Association Donegal. working together to keep people safe across Donegal.
Petworld.ie, the site where you can treat your pets this Christmas with great value on gifts, toys and Christmas selection boxes, not to mention our unbeatable prices on all pet foods and accessories. Available now for home delivery only at petworld.ie.
National Fuels, Churchill. Delivering home heating oil in Letterkenny and surrounding areas. 9137 400. National Fuels. Bringing you the time at...
It is 29 minutes past 10. I'm being reliably informed by listeners that it's starting to snow quite heavily in parts of Lifford and Letterkenny. And I say in parts because we have this type of a strange climate here whereby some parts of Letterkenny or Lifford might see snow and others won't. So it is all the more reason why we should be really careful out there on the roads. Milo joins us. Hi, Milo.
Hi, Greg. How you doing?
It is Milo, or is it Milo? It's Milo?
Milo, yeah.
Lovely. Okay, talking about the roads. You've been out and about in the roads, and you're not giving drivers an A. Let's put it like that.
Exactly. It's astonishing that so many cars drive with their fog lights on in either bright daylight or in the evening and night when it's literally not required. And quite frankly, Greg, it's ridiculous how people think it's either cool or they don't even look at their car's that dashboard.
What are we talking about when we talk about fog lights, Milo? Are we on about that bright red one at the back, or are you on about the ones at the front?
Yeah, exactly. One's on the front.
Yeah, I think most people switch them on because it looks like you've got 4 lights at the front and it looks cool.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I believe they're not completely aware how dazzling it is.
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing a lot of motorists, especially young motorists, modifying their front headlights, dip lights, with those LED or bright blue, which are also extremely dazzling in the mornings or in the evenings.
Yeah, especially too at this time of year where there's a lot of salt and grit on the road and you're constantly trying to clear your windscreen, and any sort of dazzle of any lights is magnified for the driver. It's really quite dangerous at times.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And also every single morning I see so many cars, vans and trucks driving at much higher speeds than 50 kilometers speed limit from Port Road towards Dry Arch Roundabout.
Yeah, the 4 lanes. The Gardaí, the council, have determined that's 50 kilometres per hour. I think drivers have decided it's about 70, really.
Yeah, exactly. And now with all these, with all those roadworks still ongoing and icy mornings, it's a recipe for a massive car disaster. I'll give an example. Like yesterday morning, I was taking kids to school and preschool, and I was doing maybe 50, 52, and a van passed through me like I was standing. I would say he was going at least 80 or 90.
He probably was thinking, what's this fella doing? Driving at 50,
Exactly.
driving at 50 kilometres an hour, me trying to get to work. You would advocate for Gardaí to set checkpoints up out there. Now, as soon as we start talking about speed checks, then people are going to say it'd be like shooting fish in the barrel because no one does 50. But you believe this is such a serious issue. This is a road safety issue. And let us not forget, all of that work is happening primarily motivated. It's not going to speed. It's not going to ease traffic. That whole project out there is about road safety, which is kind of ironic because everyone flouts the 50 kilometre speed limit. But you think the Gardaí should be doing something about that, do you?
Definitely they should, or at least like in other European countries. I'm quite surprised that there aren't those speed camera boxes that are posted at the light posts. And for example, I cannot remember the last time I've seen the guards doing the speed check at the roundabout towards Banner Cunningham, but I do remember seeing them at the bottom. But I believe they should be placed somewhere in the middle of the dual carriageway because people are driving like it's a literally like a motorway, like 130, 150 over there.
Yeah, I know the stretch of road you talked. It's the only dual carriageway in the entire county, remarkably. So a lot of people go, oh, you know what I mean? As I said, shooting fish in a barrel, all that kind of stuff. I think for many of us, and I know there's people listening, this does not apply to because they would be very, very aware of this. But I don't think we really make a connection between our driving behaviour and the terrible loss of life on our roads. Almost 160 people, I believe, have already died so far on the roads this year. But we kind of push back against authority as soon as you start talking about enforcement. It's a strange situation, Milo. Sorry, this detachment we seem to have from cause and effect.
Yeah, I agree, and I specifically remember 18th of February this year we had a bunch of snow here in Letterkenny, and like people, I'm still seeing people, driving on summer tires and sliding, and even this morning there was some black ice on the road, and I've seen cars sliding left, right, and center, and just cannot fathom the fact that people are just comfortably driving with summer tires in this cold weather. I mean, I know that winter tires are not mandatory here in Ireland during the winter time, but everybody should use common sense. Like, you cannot drive with summer tires at -2.
I don't know anyone that changes their tires for winter, Milo. Do you?
Oh yeah, I just did, like, last week.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
So where are the summer tires? Are they sitting in the garage or something?
Yeah, I placed them in the attic.
Okay, Milo. I get a sense of an accent here, right? So I get the impression that you've got experience of driving culture in another country. Do you mind me asking where?
In Croatia.
All right. Okay. So how is the attitude to the roads different in Croatia as it would be in Ireland if you've got driving experience over there?
Well, I've been driving over 20 years, and in Croatia it's mandatory, like, to swap summer tires to winter tires once the temperatures hit below 7 Celsius degrees, and that would be roughly, let's say, beginning or middle of October till beginning of the spring. So you would, by law, you are required to fit winter tires.
Wow.
Because,
okay.
Yeah, because simply, like, summer tires cannot act, in the same manner as winter tires when temperatures hit below 7 Celsius degrees. And even worse, let's put it like this: the cheapest winter tire in winter is better than the best summer tire in winter. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Do we get a pass at all here because of the inconsistency of the weather? I'm not sure if, in some countries, I'm not sure if it applies in Croatia. I suspect it does. That, you have really quite easily defined seasons. Here in winter, you've seen we've had a really mild winter so far, but I know it's not the calendar, it's the temperature that dictates. But next week, we could be driving around in 10 or 11 or 12 degrees, and we have to put an awful lot of miles up on our cars, Milo. So do we get a pass with that excuse, I wonder, in terms of not switching our tires to winter tires?
Well, I'd rather be prepared, because I'd rather, put on winter tires literally during the winter rather than, getting caught by snow or some icy stretch on roads and, not being prepared and then, causing an accident or anything like that.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio on the way to work this morning, flicking through the stations, and there was one debate on one radio station about, Met-Éireann predicting black ice, but people didn't see black ice. I saw black ice this morning. Around Donegal town in certain areas. We live in a very mountainous area. You will get pockets of black ice. We cannot get a blanket. I'm not defending Met-Éireann, but we can't get a blanket weather forecast for this part of the world, Milo. But people get angry because they don't see the black ice that was predicted, but they don't consider that one village over there is black. I'm looking at it, snow falling from the sky here in Letterkenny. I guarantee you there's no snow in Donegal town. Do you know what I mean? So we have to use our common sense, I think.
Yeah, I agree, but still, the tires are the only thing, that connects you with the road itself. So rather be prepared, like I said, than not to be.
Stay with us if you've got a minute, because I've a tyre professional, Fiona from Ulster Tyres in Stranraer. Good morning to you, Fiona.
Good morning, Greg. How are you this
I'm
morning?
good.
I hope you're wrapped up warm in the studio.
Oh, it's toasty. I'm not going to lie, and I'm so lucky, and I appreciate that. And you've got the two double doors open. Do you have freezing your
we
toes
do.
off?
The team down in Letterkenny are not quite so warm. They're very busy, though.
Yeah, good stuff. Come here. So we're listening to Milo there, and he's talking about his experience in Croatia, for example. He's already changed his tyres. He's got the summer tyres in the garage, in the attic or wherever, and he's got his winter tyres on. Do many of us in this part of the world routinely change to winter tyres, Fiona?
It's an emerging trend that we're seeing more and more of. If I explain it briefly, there's three types of tyres in the market generally. Summer tyres, what 80% of the population run on. there's a happy medium between summer and what's really called a cold weather tyre, but what we often refer to as snow tyres or winter tyres. But that happy medium then is an all-weather tyre, which is somewhere in between the two. And that's what we see the growing trend the most for. And then we see taxis or people who live maybe what I would say out in the country, at the back of a mountain, at the back of an estate that never sees grit. Those kind of people are clued in enough to say, here, I need to think ahead. I'll put on my winter tyres, because the optimum operating temperature for a winter tyre is 7 degrees and below. And that's what our recommendation is to our customers as well. So in hindsight, we'll not always remember the 7 degrees, but if we think about it, that we should be thinking about fitting winter tyres for the duration of the winter period.
Yeah, and especially if you travel across the county, because you will hit autumn, spring and winter all in the one journey often. Winter tyres, do they wear, does this come down to money? Do they wear faster? Are they more expensive? Like, why would we not switch to winter tyres then, I wonder, Fiona?
We wouldn't switch to winter tyres perhaps if we live in a built-up, condensed area where we don't see the same variances of temperature. But if you, like yourself, Greg, are going through the gap every day, you probably think more about that journey in the winter than you do in the summer. So you'll give that a little more thought in terms of your tyres.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that any driver can do today for themselves is to get their tyres checked, because you need to have adequate tread depth to keep you safe in temperatures like what we're experiencing for the next couple of days. So even if you don't want to go to the expense of an extra set of tyres, and your tyres, you've just maybe bought a new car or a newish car, and you know the tread is good, that's good too. There are simple things that the driver can do to make their journey simpler and safer.
Yeah, and Milo, it's very clear that you see that little bit of rubber between your backside and the road as one of the most important parts of your vehicle in terms of safety, Milo.
Yeah, that is correct, Greg, yes.
All right. Milo,
Because,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to say, safety always comes first. And, I'm driving kids in schools, and I'm always, trying to consider myself, my own, actually, and my family's safety first as well. So.
All right, Milo, listen, safe onward journey. I can hear your indicator going there, so I'll let you carry on. Thanks so much for pulling in for us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. Thank you very much indeed, Milo. So the hybrid tyre, Fiona, is that just to make us feel like we're doing something, or is it genuinely good in I'm not saying there's anything misleading about it, but is it a good compromise, or really should we be thinking on the winter tyre for the next couple of months?
It's a good compromise.
Okay.
It's the best of summer and winter combined. If you drive maybe a high-end SUV, a lot of those now come as standard with an all-weather tyre on them. And it's just an emerging trend that we're seeing more and more of. If you're a professional driver like a taxi and so forth, they really love them.
Yeah.
Because they're getting the best of both worlds. And then when you go to the test, remember that you have to have your tyres on axle pairs. So, for instance, if you had your winter tyres on and you had a puncture, you would need to replace that winter tyre with another winter tyre. Otherwise, when you go for your NCT, you would fail, because the tyres work differently. So if they're mixed on an axle, they work against each other.
And can you
but
have...
if you go into any local garage, they'll check all this for you for free.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and can you have different can you have sort of hybrid tyres on the back? Say, for instance, your car is front-wheel drive. Could you have hybrid tyres in the back and winter tyres in the front? Would that make any sense?
You can do that, but we tend to see it more like an all-weather tyre on the front or wherever your driven axle is. So if it's front-wheel drive, you put them on the front, and if you're rear-wheel drive, you put them on the back. And as long as they're on an axle pairs, there is no issue.
And in terms of the actual full-on winter tyre, what does that help? Is it if there's snow on the ground, is the black ice, is it just an extra little bit of grip? Like, where's the advantage there?
The tyres themselves are made differently, so there's two real differences in them. One is the surface of the tyre is a rougher tread, which gives you more bite and grip on the surface. And the second part of it is there's more silica in the compound of the tyre. And that's the silica that you think it is, the stuff that, or a variant of, that we see in, builders merchants and stuff like that. But the tyre component equivalent it retains heat in the block of the tyre for longer, and that allows you again to have more grip. And that's what the attributes of a winter tyre, or what's really properly called a cold weather tyre.
Yeah, I get
That's
you.
what it'll offer your driver.
So if the outside temperature is 7 degrees or above, then the summer tyre in inverted commas is fine. When do the hybrid sort of stroke cold winter tyres, the optimal sort of outside temperature for them, if you know what I mean, or when we should be considering
Well,
them?
it's called an all-weather. It's called an all-weather tyre or an all-season tyre, and for that reason, there is no optimum operating temperature.
Cool.
It's suitable for all conditions.
And then the winter tyre, ideally now for the next couple of months, if you have it within your means, that would offer you the best safety for driving.
It would. It would,
Yeah, okay.
but it's not always an affordable option for anyone.
I get you.
But check your tread. Do the simple things. If that can save you a huge sum of money. Check your tread. Go into your local garage, get your tread checked, your pressure checked. Know what you're dealing with on your tyres, and that way you'll know what you're facing into. And if you think that your tyres are marginal, you will adapt your driving style to accommodate it. But if you don't know that and you plough on at your regular speed with ball tyres in the back, then you could have prevented that situation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really, really important safety message because, you know, we often talk about speed and seat belts and phones, and that's really, really important. But other contributing factors are the condition of the car and the condition of the roads. And maybe we don't talk enough about that. So it's really useful to have this conversation, Fiona. And as you say, Ulster Tyres or any of the tyre providers, they'll give you a free inspection. They'll go out and check your tyres and let you know what the story is.
Absolutely. Any professional garage will do it for you for free because they want to be sure that they're giving you the right information so you can make a valid judgment call.
All right, great stuff, Fiona. Keep up the great work at Ulster Tyres. Thanks very much for your time.
Lovely. Thanks, Greg.
Take care. Okay, we'll be back with more after the break.
The Logs Band live at the Silver Tosse Christmas Party Nights, Saturday 10th and 17th of December, 9125619 to book. The Silver Tosse Hotel are sponsors of today's show.
This December the 23rd, you could own a brand new car worth €30,000. What a wonderful automobile. Island Radio is giving away a brand new Nissan Juke SUV worth €30,000. Someone, and it could be you, will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on December the 23rd. You just won a car. Yes, steady on, that could be you. If you've got the lucky ticket, simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's great car giveaway. Surprise, surprise. Get your ticket now.
Tá gá irid seansaigh póistíon flua oil agus atáig daoine fásta. Rud a déiteach a bheith ina chúiscinis chun cúisig. Tá gach páiste idir 2 mbliain agus 7 mbliana déag díis in an vaccine flu sróna oil sé ar náisce. Is bailach sa bháilte agus éfachtach atá an soc in iad cosint, chun maid leis an cuid eile den teilech. Jane cuine le a Doctor Generalta nó le a Fotagéir. Tile óla sé ar fáil ag hsc.ie/flu ó aimimanacht nar Sirvíse Sláinte.
All ready for next year? We are with our award-winning Seat SUVs, the bold crossover Arona, the family favorite Ateca, and the spacious 7-seater Tarraco. All ready with great PCP finance offers and a service plan for just $9.99 a month. Available to order at DMG Motors, Claw Road, Donegal Town. Book a test drive today. Visit seat.ie to find your 231 SUV. Finance provided by Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland, trading as Seat Financial Services. Subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited, trading as Seat Financial Services, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Is your loan provider leaving town? Then why not look to your local credit union? At B&S Credit Union, we have a transfer loan just for you. The transfer process is straightforward, with an emphasis on personal service delivered locally. Apply online today at bnscu.ie or free phone us on 1800 290 390 or drop into our office at Main Street, Ballybuffet. New members welcome. B&S Credit Union. Local lending you can rely on. Loans are subject to approval, terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Spoil someone with a beautiful perfume this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Chanel, Lancôme, Christian Dior and Jimmy Choo. Also great prices on Ralph Lauren, Prada and so many more. The best fragrance gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Okay, now it's time for our occasional feature on electrical appliances, repairs, advice, just general chit-chat with Declan McIlwain, Electrical Appliance Services. Good morning, Declan. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners.
It's good to have you with us. Now, if you have any questions for Declan, 086 60 25,000, get them into us now. Declan, I think a lot of people are at the moment, maybe foregoing heating an entire house, say, for instance, at night, and maybe operating a storage, not a storage heater, but an electric heater, be it the ones that are electric only or the ones that heat up oil. And on the face of it, that might make sense. Why heat an entire house when you're only located in one room for the evening? Are they very expensive to run, or is that a sensible option?
Yeah, they can be expensive to run. So they can. I suppose the cheapest type is the halogen type heaters. A lot of the retailers and that are saying, reporting a big surge in the sale of these heaters and that, so they are on demand. A lot of people are just using them maybe in one room rather than heating the whole house. They're just using them maybe in the room that they're in for the night, but they can be expensive to run, so they can, yeah.
Any ballpark figures? I know it depends on the wattage, and if you have one side of it on or both sides of it on, and not so on and so forth. But I mean, like, do we have any idea what the sort of hourly running cost of something like that might be?
The hourly cost for the average one there, I think, is about €1.30 or
€1.30
per
hour.
Per hour, yeah. So if you had it on for a couple of hours, I suppose, but maybe the way people are looking at it, it's cheaper, I suppose, to run an electric heater maybe than heating the whole house with oil or maybe coal or stuff,
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, it can be expensive.
€6 or €7 a day.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
£42 a week.
Yeah.
160. I've run out of. You could be looking at 165, 166 quid a month for running it for a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but a lot of people seem to be turning that way. All right, they're just using these portable heaters in the room that they're in rather than.
I'd just be afraid that I don't want to discourage anyone from not having comfort in a room, but I think a lot of people listening might go, "Oh, right, okay, that's really quite a lot of money."
Mm.
What is the cheapest electric heater type to run? You say halogen.
The halogen type one would be the cheapest out of them all, so it would. The halogen one is the cheaper, so it is.
Yeah, and any idea of the estimated running cost of one of them?
I think they're around you're chatting about €1 an hour for one of them halogen, where, as I say, the other type you could be up 120, 130.
Yeah, it's still not insignificant. Yeah. Can you ask Declan what causes bulbs to explode?
Yeah, usually it could be the bulb holder. Most of the time it could be a fault in the bulb holders, maybe corroded or damaged, and when it causes the bulb then to heat up and explode.
I was told that where I live, I'm sort of one of the last houses served by the electricity, right? I constantly had the halogen bulbs blowing all the time. Now, they didn't explode, but they were constantly going. And I was told that because I was so far down the line, that my supply, there might have been slight fluctuations. I switched to LED bulbs anyway and don't have that problem. Yeah. Is that a plausible reason as to why a house might have bulbs going regularly?
Not generally, not to be fair, no.
Thanks,
generally it wouldn't be.
Dashing my the advice I was given. So what might cause bulbs to blow regularly? I used to have like whole front room that were just constantly going.
It could be the bulb holder. It's usually always the bulb holders, right. Issue, to be fair.
Okay, well, anyway, don't have the problem with LEDs, but others out there might find that advice useful. What type of Christmas lights are best? I know a lot of families who've changed to battery-operated ones for the trees. I've heard flashing lights are cheaper to run than ones that are on steady. Now, before we get into that, are plug-in LED bulbs expensive to run whichever way? Because, obviously we could be looking at ways to save money. Are we wasting our time... worried about the cost of running a Christmas tree, for example, if there are LED ones and the wider scale of things?
Yeah, the LED lights is the cheapest lights to run, so they're definitely a good wee bit cheaper than the old style lights and stuff, so there.
But is it worth switching from plug-in to battery for the money that you would save?
That wouldn't really be, to be honest, because by the time you get batteries and stuff, unless you're using rechargeable batteries and stuff,
yeah.
The Christmas lights, the LED, they wouldn't use a lot of power, so they wouldn't.
Well, that makes sense because I do have a battery set, and it's a reasonably long string, and 2 AA's that run for a week. So presumably, are low watt users.
They are, yeah, they are. Yeah,
and the same would apply to the plugins.
Yeah.
So we really shouldn't be worried about them flashing or not flashing.
Not really, no.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
Okay. So, as I say, you boil a kettle.
Yeah.
Right. You probably could run your Christmas lights for a year off that.
Yeah, that's right. That's the thing. You'd run them for a good while, anyways.
Not literally a year, but okay. Storage heaters, are they expensive to run? We're thinking of getting it for our parents for the winter. Now, a storage heater, the old ones, have effectively concrete blocks in them, and they heat them up when the power is cheaper. We don't really have cheaper power here, depending on your service provider. And then they release that heat during the day. Is that how they work?
Yeah, that's how they work, but they can be expensive as well. It depends on what output they're on. Some of the older type ones there, you could have them. A lot of people might generally use them up 4 or 5 of that, and they'll be putting out a large heat output, and they would be very expensive to run. But a lot of the newer ones and stuff, there's thermostats and built into them and that, and they don't put out as big an output, and they're a lot cheaper. So they are, but they can be expensive to run a storage heater. In fairness. Yeah,
and I think, as I say now, in this country, if you're on a smart meter, they do generally heat up during the night, don't they?
Yeah, they do. A lot of people.
If you have them set correctly.
If you have them set correctly,
because they are quite. The ones I've used, the ones here, it'd be easy to get a man on the moon and set them to come on.
Yeah, that's right. The older
right
style were harder to set up, but the newer ones now are more efficient and stuff, and they're easier set up. So they're.
All right, but they're not. I mean, they're going to be cheaper than the other option we were talking about, are they?
Yeah, they will be cheaper than that, so they will. But it just depends. I suppose some people maybe have no other source of heat, so other than a storage heater, so they're going to have to use it. But if they can keep the output on them down low, they won't be as expensive to run.
My hearing aids are supposed to be left charging overnight. Is this dangerous?
Well, they recommend you don't charge anything at night, but hearing aids and that, I suppose. There would be a wee low voltage battery, like they wouldn't, or power output. They wouldn't be that dangerous, like to charge on all night.
Yeah, and back in the day, if you charged something like that, it would constantly try and charge the device even when it was full. Nowadays, there's charge protectors and stuff on these.
Yeah, that's right. Whenever they charge up, they'll cut out anyway, so they won't be running all night. So they won't.
It'll stop drawing power at some stage during the night.
Yeah, and it wouldn't take long for them to charge up, so it wouldn't.
Right, I have a constant argument with my mum at the moment that putting a light on in the sitting room and leaving it on is cheaper than on and off all night. The whole cost of electricity has turned her into a nightmare. Help now. I don't like getting involved in family arguments, but you know what? Let's jump in here. Is there any advantage to leaving a light on as opposed to switching it off and on, off and on, off and on?
Not really, no.
There's no surge of cost in switching.
No, there wouldn't be really. Now, in fairness, so there wouldn't. The light wouldn't be costing a lot to run for one light, so it wouldn't. In fairness,
so well, hold on a second. Now, you're not really getting involved in this argument properly at all here. Who's right? Does it matter if it's switched off and on?
No, it wouldn't really. In fairness,
right. Okay. So the daughter's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Mom.
There's no
Pull your horns
surge.
in.
There's no surge or anything or creating more power because it's turned off and on.
Yeah. Will you stay with us after 11? I have to take an ad break and then the 11 o'clock news. And do you know what? It'll give listeners a chance to call in. I've pretty much it took a while, all LED bulbs in my house. They're cheaper than the old traditional bulbs, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a lot cheaper. So they're the newer type, the LED bulbs. They're a lot cheaper than the old type bulb.
Right, we are in the company of Declan McIlwain of Electrical Appliance Services. We're answering your questions on... we've got questions coming in and about the operating temperature of freezers, fridges, and all that type. Anything to do with running your electrical appliances. Maybe they're playing up on you. You want to know, does it need to be replaced, be serviced? Any questions as it relates to your large and small appliances and running them in your house, Declan will try his best, and he's done great so far, to give you an answer. So stay right where you are. We're going to take a break, then go to the news, and we'll have more from Declan after.
The 9 till 9 show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea, dinner and drinks throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
Looking for the perfect gift this Christmas? Why not choose a McElhenny's gift card available in-store or online? Plus, to help spread the cost of Christmas, why not join our layaway club and give someone special a Christmas gift to remember this festive season from McElhenny's. Open Sundays from 1:30 to 6 p.m.
At Ulster Bank, we have now begun to close current and deposit accounts. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. You must take action now. If you are still relying on your personal or business bank account and in need of support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
If something's free, why would you turn it down? I mean, a free haircut from a 5-year-old. Oh, no. Or a free sample of onion paste. Oh. Well then, how about a free tour of your neighbour's new shed? Oh, sounds, well... OK, look, they were bad examples. But how about a free eye test and free glasses from the €69 range at Specsavers with your PRSI? Well, that sounds like something to smile about.
Book an appointment or find out more at specsavers.ie.
Callahan's Gala and Go Burt, your one-stop family shop. Drive in to our newly renovated spacious forecourt. Fill up with our upgraded modern fuel pumps and save with our keen Go Fuel prices. Located on the main Letterkenny to Derry Road, we're the ideal pit stop on your Donegal journey. Fast flow fuel, self-service or attended with a smile.
Sure, it's all go at Callahan's.
From the smallest shrub to the largest tree in an awkward place, Donnelly Tree Services provide a complete range of tree surgery services. Whether you need to remove a dangerous tree or some nuisance branches, Donnelly Tree Services have the experience and expertise to carry out tree surgery to the highest of professional standards. Call 083 005 9939. Donnelly Tree Services, Donegal. No job is too small, no tree is too tall.
And now the Highland weather, brought to you by Shop LK. An accumulation of Christmas shoppers will descend on Letterkenny this December. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Okay, further well scattered wintry showers will occur this morning with a light dusting of snow on some lower levels. Sunny spells will follow as wintry showers become confined to northern coastal counties, which is us. Highest temperatures of just 1 to 4 degrees today, and as I say, it's already snowing somewhat outside here in Letterkenny.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Okay, more questions from Declan, or answers from Declan on the way to your questions. But first, let's get a news update and say good morning, Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Defective block campaigners and homeowners have scrapped plans to protest in Carndonagh today after Donegal County Council closed the Public Services Centre there. Campaigners intended to occupy the centre as part of their renewed campaign to highlight the pressures they are facing, particularly in the case of those whose homes are now unsafe. Campaigner Paddy Diver says the protest will take place tomorrow instead. Meanwhile, Minister Charlie McConlogue says he believes the issues will be resolved very shortly and that there is a willingness on behalf of Minister Darragh O'Brien to engage. Well, Donegal County Council described yesterday's meeting with Minister Darragh O'Brien as constructive. The Minister met with the local authority to discuss a number of motions submitted by councillors on a range of issues pertaining to defective concrete blocks. Vulture Ireland is writing to hotels nationwide to warn them about continued price spiking. The Tourism Development Authority is encouraging businesses to be mindful of the reputational damage price spiking could cause to Irish tourism. Concerns have been raised over the discoloration of water in Burton Port. Residents in the area have been subjected to discoloured water in the taps for a number of weeks now. The matter has been reported to Irish Water, who say they are investigating it. Irish Water, meanwhile, says repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions to the Port Road in Letterkenny today. A traffic management plan will be in place for the duration of the works, which are expected to last until 3:30. Met Éireann says more weather warnings are on the way. A stylish yellow ice warning ends at midday, with another low temperature warning in place from 10 o'clock tonight. Drivers are being warned of hazardous driving conditions. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
All right, Michaela, thanks very much indeed. We're in the company of Declan McIlwain, Electrical Appliance Services, and lots of you getting involved in the conversation. Keep your questions coming in. We've got Declan for another wee while. Right, we bought a new fridge. It's operating at 4 degrees. What's the best temperature as our food is becoming partially frozen? Also, too, what happens when you have your fridge too cold is if you have a ham, open ham or cheese, it'll get burnt, you know, frost burnt on the ends. 4 seems a bit low to me, or maybe it's just right. What temperature?
Yeah, between 3 and 4 they would recommend, in fairness.
Okay.
On the setting on the fridge, like.
What about 5 or 6?
Well, it depends on the fridge there as well. A lot of the older fridges there, you'll be looking at the, the dial on them. The higher up they are, the colder they are. So say if the old type, it would have between 1 to 5.
Yes.
Where the higher
Sorry,
up
now,
the...
this is while you're here. I presume 5 is coldest.
Yeah, 5 is coldest. So it is. Some people get caught out there. They put it. They think it's the other way around. But
so 1 is like 1 degree. 5, it's not. You go up. Right?
Yeah, you go up. So you do. So, but the newer type fridges, then, as you say, you'll be looking in that the display. It comes up on the display the temperature. So it would.
So 4 is about right.
Yeah.
I find it depends on the fridge too. If you put the stuff to the back, it can, you know what I mean? That's where I have problems with ham and cheese, whereas if I bring it slightly to the front,
Yeah, well, it creates a lot of moisture on the back. If it's a wet wall fridge, that's where it does the cooling. So if stuff's near the back of it, you'll find that it'll get a lot of moisture and stuff.
I had a problem with my fridge where it was freezing up. Ice was forming up the back, and it wasn't performing well at all. And there's 2 wee tracks that come down at an angle at the back of your fridge, right? And all that was wrong was the little drain hole was blocked.
Yeah, it's a common one, so it is in the fridge.
So if your fridge is icing up at the back, clear out your drain hole.
Yeah, clean. You can clean the drain hole there with boiling water down the back, and the water you see that's on the back of the fridge, it runs down there and evaporates away. But if that's blocked, it can't go down, so it's going to create a lot of water in your fridge. So it is.
I know someone out there right now is poking their hole, having heard that conversation, because they're going to have a fridge that's very icy at the back.
Yeah.
When you hear adverts for avoid using electricity between 5 and 8, is that only in relation to smart meters or in general? If I have a smart meter and use between these times, is it more expensive? This is a complicated one because some pay-as-you-goes, it is cheaper between those times. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're asking us to do the responsible thing here. They're asking us to avoid using electricity to save putting pressure on the grid at the peak time. Can you save money? Depends on your meter, does it?
Yeah, it does. It all depends on the provider, so it does. Some of them have different prices and stuff, so they do, and different rates between different hours. So it all depends. The answer to that question is really down to your provider.
Yeah, but the adverts are not. The adverts are from the government. They're not motivated to save your money. They're motivating you to not use the electricity at peak times to take pressure off the grid.
Yeah.
You have to be on a specific tariff with your electrical provider to save any money at certain times. Also, please, if you're doing that, particularly with a smart meter, check, because unfortunately, some of the tariffs I've seen on a smart meter, the daytime price is more expensive and it's cheaper at night. But I wouldn't be putting on a dishwasher or a dryer or a washing machine in bed when I'm in bed.
No, definitely not.
Think about everything. I would suggest, if that's all right for me, to stick my oar in there, Declan. I'm hoping to put an inflatable Santa outside the house, which is run by a fan.
Yeah.
How much do these cost to run?
Like it's only a wee fan. You're probably chatting maybe for an evening. If it was on for a couple of hours, you're probably chatting maybe less than €1.
Right, you're not Scrooge. I thought you were going to be a right old Scrooge on that one. Right, that's not bad then.
No, you're probably chatting maybe 20-30 cent an hour for a fan. It's a very small fan.
Yeah. Just
blowing the air around, so you wouldn't be chatting that much for an evening over Christmas.
All right, there you go. Okay, that's good news. Fair play to you. Can a microwave oven lose its efficiency? And would it then use more electricity?
Yeah, it can. It can do, all right. Sometimes the metal and stuff inside the microwave can kind of get damaged and stuff, and it wouldn't have the same efficiency, so it wouldn't.
And they are disposable items, really, aren't they? You know, they're not serviceable as such, or are they worth servicing in your experience, Declan?
I see the main things on them, the transformer and the mag. You see, it can be expensive to change the parts on them, so a lot of the time it can be just beyond repair, because it'll be cheaper to buy a new one, unfortunately.
Why is it so expensive to change bearings in a washing machine? I bought my washing machine 5 years ago for €330, and the part to repair it and the cost of repair now is €450. So the repair of the bearings in the washing machine is 120 quid more expensive than the washing machine was itself.
Yeah, all the older machines, the bearings and that was changed. You could change them and they were easy enough change. But all the newer machines all have what they call sealed tubs, sealed drums. So you have to change the whole component. So you do. So they are expensive. But the good news, I suppose, now in the new year with the whole circular economy, they're going back to changeable bearings and stuff.
Oh,
so
are they?
yeah,
Right,
they
that's
are. Yeah. So there's no more sealed. When you had to buy a sealed drum, you were buying literally the new full machine. So now you'll be able to change the bearings and stuff on them going forward.
So the price should come back down again. And you talked about this the last time you were in. We are moving back towards serviceable, affordable, serviceable stuff. Because that's like buying a car and the engine going and then wondering why it's so expensive to replace the engine, isn't it?
That's
really?
right. That's
okay.
the thing, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Right, okay, so we're going backwards to get better. What about heated clothes horse era? Are these expensive to run? I've seen these. They're like your traditional clothes horse, but they have a heating element to dry out the clothes.
Yeah, they can be expensive to run as well, so they can. But there's a low heat output on them and stuff, so they wouldn't be as expensive as a dryer. But there's a heating element on there and stuff, so they can be expensive to run.
Is it better, and this is a question I asked at the start of the week, but relating to oil, I'm not sure if you have an opinion on that. Is it better to have your heating on at a low steady temperature all day? So we pick 18 degrees, or just turn it on for a couple of hours at certain times, right? So your house might get down to about 16, 15 degrees overnight, I don't know. 2 hours in the morning to give it a boost, maybe when people are heading out to work and school, maybe an hour during the day just to lift things up a little bit, and then stick it on for 2 or 3, 4 hours at night. Maybe in terms of electricity, it might be easier for you to answer. But are you better to boost your heating, like I've described, or keep it on a steady temperature all day?
Well, I know I heard a plumber actually talking on that issue there recently, and
What did he say?
And he said that it was better to run it at a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon and stuff.
Really?
He said it was more efficient. It was easier on the boiler and stuff as well, rather than running it for a couple hours solid. He said it was better to have it on time, maybe a couple hours in the morning, at a couple hours, in the afternoon and stuff, to timed rather than giving it a burst in the morning and same in the evening.
Samsung fridge freezer. I suspect this is one of those maybe big American freezers, which in my experience can be quite temperamental. But anyway, no water is coming out of the dispense. What could be the problem?
More than likely, the issue probably is there could be an issue there with the filter. It could be there's a dispenser unit on there as well. Give us bother. The water will be coming into the dispenser unit, but it doesn't come through. Then there could be like a faulty valve or that,
So it's probably some sort of a cut-off then within the unit itself?
Yeah, it also could be there's a tank in there in the fridge that keeps the water cold. Sometimes it can kind of freeze up. It's at the bottom of your fridge, and sometimes over time it can freeze up and the water can't get out of the tank.
If you can, switching these type of fridge freezers off for 2 or 3 days, it can resolve some of these problems, can't it?
Well, manufacturers would recommend that every 6 months, although they are frost free and stuff, that you turn them off for about 24 hours. If you can turn them off, open the door for about 24 hours, you're starting them from the new again. You're giving them a good chance. Definitely now with Christmas and that coming up, they're going to be full up. Most people fill them up and stuff coming up to Christmas. It's definitely a good idea to defrost your fridge freezer now before Christmas.
Are those big sort of American style fridge freezers, are they temperamental, or was I giving them a bit of bad press there?
No, to be fair, they're not too bad, but there's a lot of things on them. The new ones and stuff there now, they've got like iPads built into the door and all this kind of thing. They can give a bit of bother, but they're generally now, to be fair, they're a good appliance.
All right, good stuff. My dad is another family row you might get involved in.
Right.
My dad's insisting that a fibre optic tree with no light will be more cost effective. Is this true? Now there is light, because the light is emitted from the end of the fibre optic, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is the light. So fibre optic has to be easier to run than LED, doesn't it?
It does. It wouldn't cost very little to run it, so it wouldn't.
Yeah. But again, you said it doesn't cost an awful lot to run the LED either. It's not worth falling out.
No, definitely not. No, you're chatting very small money to run one of these for a few hours in the evening or over Christmas.
Caller says she bought LED lights for her kitchen. They were really expensive, €100 each. Now, you can get LED lights for a pack for 23 quid. Even the ones with the 2 knobs on the end. What are they called? You shouldn't be paying that much for LED bulbs, but they went really, really quickly. They lasted no time. Would there be a fault with them? Can I just say, in my experience, because I have used a lot of these LED bulbs, one particular brand I was using they were failing on me, right? They failed really quite quickly. I replaced them with another brand, never had a problem since. So what could be causing this listener's LED lights in her kitchen to fail?
Yeah, does she mean like LED bulbs, is it, or is it an LED set?
Yeah, are they smart bulbs as well?
I see.
I'll tell you what to do. Get back in touch with us and describe what type of bulbs they are. How much would it cost to run an outdoor Christmas tree with 6 sets of outdoor LED lights? Now, we're only asking for a ballpark here, Declan. Seriously, how good are you?
Probably to maybe over an hour. You could be chatting maybe over €1 or something. Like most of them LED sets, the lights, they're only 20-30 cent an hour or something. So you probably maybe chatting like over €1 an hour to run, something like that.
Right, okay, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. We've an old fridge freezer. It's over freezing. I have it on 2.5 at the moment. Should it be down at 1? I'm worried it'll thaw out.
Yeah.
So is that degrees or is that just the knob or?
I wonder, is it?
So what would cause a fridge freezer to create too much ice effectively, I suppose?
A lot of the times it can be to do with the door sealer. That
you know what? I've had this problem.
The door seal maybe could be cracked or perished or that, and it's sticking in warm air out of the room and it'll create a massive lot of ice. The best thing to do with that, I suppose, would be to defrost it, turn it off for 24 hours and try it on again.
And do you know what happened to me as well too? I thought the door was fully closing, but because the seal was a little bit broken, ice had formed around the lid, and it was actually just sitting on the ice, but it wasn't creating a seal, and it just made the problem worse and worse and worse. So that's very likely what the problem is.
Yeah, more than likely that's the issue there.
All right, okay. Time for just a couple more. No, we got that one. We were just waiting for. I was trying to hold off to see if this listener could call back, read the LED lights. The ones I have are smart lights as well. As I say, you can get 2 of them for €23-24.
Yeah.
They're very effective. They can be dimmed as well. Does dimming lights save money?
It would save a bit of money, all right. So it would, but it's very, very small, to be fair. Like you're chatting cents. Like.
Finally, cents. Hey, they all add up.
Well, that's true. That's
you
true.
Add up over a year. That could be a chicken curry half and half for me some lunchtime. Come here. What should we really be avoiding then over Christmas in terms of power usage? Is there any pitfalls we need to be avoiding?
Well, I suppose you'd want to be watching everything. I suppose it's a busy time, for the kitchen. The oven's going. A lot of people are home. Maybe appliances are going a few times a day and stuff. So you're looking to use them smarter and try and minimise their use. Maybe instead of putting them on a couple of times, watch the loads and stuff. And your tumble dryer, the wash machine. The oven, I suppose, it's a good idea even to give the oven a good cleaning now and stuff. It's an oven, they reckon, is about 10% more efficient. A clean oven's about 10% more efficient than it. So it's a good time now, I suppose, to be maybe giving your oven and stuff a good clean. And as I say, just over the Christmas and that, just watching the loads and stuff.
And even though we talk about LED, low voltage and all that there, you really need to be switching those lights off at the wall at night time, presumably, do you?
You're better if you can at all. If you can plug them out, it's better than even having things on standby and stuff. If you can, I know it can be awkward, TVs and stuff, behind units and stuff, but if you can plug them out altogether, it's better.
Like I got smart plugs and smart, like I was an early adapter of all this smart technology, being able to do, because you put the smart plug in the back of something, they're hard to access, but it's just so easy. You can voice command it and everything goes off.
Yeah, that's the thing. But if you can switch them off, even for safety, like for Christmas lights and stuff there, it's a good idea, I suppose, to check your lights and turn them off at night. Sometimes people might be going away for an hour or two downtown and they'll keep things on, but definitely for safety and stuff, if they can turn them off at a plug and check their lights every so often and stuff, it's a good idea,
In terms of the likes of your washing machine, does half load, is that cheaper than a full load? Like, should we be using it less often but filling it more, or what's the
well, if you can put it on to a quick wash and stuff there, but I suppose you wouldn't want to be overloading it as well. Sometimes nowadays people can tend to overload it, maybe instead of just getting it on once a day instead of putting it on a couple of times, but then you can damage parts and stuff if you're overloading it. So you're trying to a good load but not overload, if you know what I'm saying.
I want to get to the bottom of these LED bulbs. Stick on your headphones for a second there, Declan. Mary, did you say it was? Yeah, Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can you hear Mary, Declan?
It's not LED bulbs.
Right, go ahead then.
It's a kitchen light, it's a round thing with a bit in the centre, not for a bulb, it's like a circuit board or something in the centre of the light. And then when the light comes on, like it's like little stars all around it.
Right.
It's a sealed unit thing.
Okay, Declan, does that sound familiar?
It does. So if there's an issue with it, it's obviously in the light. So you'd be looking to take it back to the retailer wherever you bought it.
They have remote control it, or give it a soft light or a.
I know exactly what you're on about. This is a smart LED, isn't it? And it's a one contained unit, and you can adjust the brightness. That sounds like, according to Declan, the whole unit's faulty, Mary. How long have you had it?
Yes, the whole unit. So once it goes, it's a whole unit that has to come off the ceiling. And one's already gone on me, and I had to take it off, and it ruined my ceiling.
Oh no!
And now the second one's gone.
Well, you could also
and the
get
worst
your
thing
wiring
is,
checked there. Maybe there could be an issue with your wire and going to the light. If it's a second light you've replaced, there could be an issue. So you're probably best to get an electrician.
Oh, it's not the one that I replaced that's gone now. It's another one.
Yeah, but the chances, I think, what Declan's saying of both of these lights failing like this would maybe rule out a manufacturing issue. It might be your electrical system that you might need to get an electrician to look at to find out what's causing these to blow on you, Mary.
I had an electrician, you see, the first time, because I said to the electrician, this shouldn't have went, that they should last longer than that, and he said yes. So I said, so what's the problem? He says, must be just a faulty one.
But you've a faulty two now.
I have a 42 now, and you see, they were €100 each.
Right, okay.
I won't say where I got them out.
Yeah.
I better not.
No, not for now. But you should go back to them though and say, look, maybe you got a bag batch if you bought them at the same time. Say, look, I've spent £200 here on lights. Both of them have blown. I've spoken to my electrician. He said the circuitry's okay. What can you do? I mean, I think it would be in that company's interest to work with you, Mary, on that.
Very good. I'll try that then.
Yeah. How long is it that you've had them?
I'm very disappointed in them, and I thought I have got them now. The last one I got was about maybe just coming up on 2 years.
Okay.
And I thought they would have lasted for years, and the one before that went, maybe I had it about 3 years, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
But I expected them to last maybe about 10 years.
Yeah.
See, because the whole thing has to come down. You can't do anything about it, and it's a big circle of a thing,
I have one of them in my bathroom. I know exactly the unit that you're talking about. There's no replaceable part. When it goes, it goes. I've had mine for longer than that, Mary. I've had no issue with it because it will give you on the box how many hours, 60,000 hours or something. But you're far short of that. So I think you should definitely go and have a word with whomever supplied them to you and assure them that you've had your circuitry checked out. Because you need to replace the size of the space that this took up before, because it will hide the mess of the ceiling.
Yeah, you see that's you see the when I replaced the other one, they said to me, "Oh, they're not making you couldn't get the bigger one now." So the one that I got again then was a bit smaller. So my it did ruin my ceiling.
Yeah. Well, you can get them on all different sizes on the internet if you can't get them locally. I'm a big advocate of shopping locally, Mary, but you can get all shapes and sizes to cover everything on the internet as well. Listen, excuse me, have a chat to the supplier and get back to us and tell us what they say.
Lovely. Okay. Thank you very much indeed.
All right,
Thank
Mary,
you, Greg.
take care of yourself. All right, there you go. Listen, Declan, have a happy Christmas.
Same to
you
yourself.
Give us the advice, haven't you? You can't tell us about how to cook a turkey or anything, no?
No, I wouldn't be as good at that, in fairness.
All right, okay, good stuff. And we're going to see big changes, are we, in the coming years and months in terms of our particularly the big wide appliances being more serviceable?
Oh, yeah. Now, from the new year and stuff with the whole circular economy thing, we're going to see a lot of that. So,
All right.
you're going to be seeing more repairs now and stuff going into the future. More stuff's going to be made serviceable and parts available and stuff,
Okay, well, we'll watch on with interest. Listen, thank you.
All right, thanks,
Lovely
Greg.
to have
Thanks,
you in.
listeners. Bye.
Thank you very much. That's Declan McIlwain from Electrical Appliances Services. Do you have a website or a Facebook? People can go and check it out.
Electrical Appliances.
All right, Electrical Appliance Services. Declan McIlwain. Thanks so much, Declan.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie Hotel, offering gift vouchers, indulgent treatments and Christmas gift sets to suit all pockets. 9126251 or email spa@silvertassiehotel.ie.
Give the gift of discovery this Christmas with an overnight escape or a meal they're sure to remember in that place they love or the one they'd love to try. Buy a voucher for one of Ireland's amazing hotels or restaurants today and support Irish businesses while getting a head start on your Christmas shopping. Brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
Andrea, Matteo, and Virginia Bocelli, together for the very first time on their brand new album, A Family Christmas. The Bocellis, A Family Christmas, out now at Golden Discs. 60 years under your Christmas tree.
Paul's venue Letterkenny presents the fantastic Whistling Donkeys this Saturday, December 10th. Doors open at 9 p.m, pay at the door. It's sure to be another great night with the Whistling Donkeys this Saturday night at Paul's venue Letterkenny.
The wind has always been a part of who we are. For generations, we've worked with it and against it. But this generation is different. We have the wind working for us. SSE Airtricity has been harnessing our greatest natural resource for the past 25 years and is Ireland's largest provider of 100% green energy to homes and businesses across the country. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green. Largest provider based on CRU energy data.
Ho, ho, ho!
Pet Value Ballbuffet in Buncrana have a fantastic range of Christmas stockings, toys, treats and leads, with 40% off selected pet beds while stocks last. We have a wide range of animals and birds in both stores. Pick up the perfect gift for you or your pets this Christmas at Pet Value, open 7 days.
Swing into Christmas with the Rat Pack, live at the Griannan Theatre Letterkenny December 14th. Direct from London's Leicester Square, and for one night only, enjoy classics from Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin. Tickets from Anne Griannan Theatre box office and annegriannan.com. Presented by Joe Gallagher Entertainments.
This Christmas, millions of children across the world are suffering. Children in Somalia, Yemen and Ethiopia face starvation, but it shouldn't be this way. We have to do something. This Christmas, please go to unicef.ie to make a donation to help support children. Thank you.
Deck the aisles with deals so jolly. This Christmas at your local Londis, get Coke, Fanta or Sprite 1 litre range and O'Donnell's Crisps range by any two for €3. Buy Chicago Town Takeaway Pizza and Bessie's Chips and Dale Farm Ice Cream, all for only $7.99. And Gato Negro Wine range 75cl for only $7.99. This Christmas at your local Londis. Offers end 12th of December at participating stores while stocks last. Please enjoy alcohol responsibly.
All right, your last opportunity to enter our Say What competition today. Tomorrow we're going to give one of you two already in the hat an opportunity to win a €100 Shop LK voucher. A great gift, a Shop LK voucher, and help support local businesses too, of course. So we've got two names in the hat already, another opportunity today and then tomorrow. And all we ask you to do, and it's for fun, it's just the regular text number 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps or texts, is to tell me what the missing word is from this episode of the Naughty Alarm Clock every weekday morning for you from 6:30. Lee Gooch, of course.
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
All right, what item is Lee saying we have far too many of? I've one more quick ad break to catch up on because the last item ran over a little bit. We're going to be talking about the Letterkenny Athletics Club. It's celebrating, can you imagine, half a century. If you want to watch that interview, we've got two guests in studio. As always, you can hop on our website, highlandradio.com, click Watch Live, or go to Highland Radio Ireland and watch us on YouTube or across our Facebook pages. Good morning, Marie, Anita, John, Mary, Patricia, Hilda, Josephine, Charlie, Nick, and Karina and Annie, all watching with us this morning. Them and hundreds more.
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
The 9 till noon show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea, dinner and drinks throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
jiggle your wiggles, because it's party season and that means M&S party food.
Oh, a nibble of this, a nibble of that.
Exactly. We're talking M&S succulent mini steak sourdough crostini, crispy bacon cups filled with rich mac and cheese, and steamed reindeer bao buns with a veg and chestnut hoisin filling. And it's 4 for 3.
Oh, that's wiggle my jiggle.
This is not just party food, you know. This is M&S party food.
Offer ends 1st of January 2023. Selected stores. T's and C's apply.
Thank you.
New solar grant aid available for farms. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
We have details and grants for farm roadways, underpasses and solar panels. Backlash over Suckler Coal proposals. Tens of thousands apply to acres, but will they all get in? We reviewed the best crushes and handling units for your farm. Plus, don't miss a 36-page farm machinery price guide with the best machines for each sector.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Check out these special offers at Simpson's Supermarket, Letterkenny. Lions tea bags, 240 pack, €5. Tito crisps, 12 pack, €2.50. Cheerios, 700 gram, €2. Neil's flour, 3 kg, only €3. See the massive range of Christmas decorations in store, with new stock arriving daily. Plus, Simpsons are now taking orders for Christmas turkeys. While there, check out Peggy's Kitchen Cafe for great food, tea and coffee. Only 2 minutes from Letterkenny Hospital. Simpson's Supermarket. Great value every day.
Hi, Pat Short here.
And Face Short over here.
I can see that.
They don't know.
Okay.
They can't see it.
We're here to tell you about our new show, which is going to be in
and Greenland Theatre, Letterkenny, Saturday the 7th of January 2023. Tickets €30 at ongreenland.com. Save hundreds of euros on custom charges when doing your Christmas shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges this Christmas with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
For all your home heating needs, oil, gas and solid fuels. National Fuels, Pierce Road, Letterkenny, 9137 400. National Fuels, bringing you the time at...
Okay, the time is 11:29. We're in studio now with Dennis Shields, juvenile coach with the Letterkenny Athletics Club, and also Mairead Hennessy, former chair and former coach. Both of you, a very good morning to you.
Morning, Greg.
It's great to have you with us. Right, okay, so it's a really important year. 50 years of the Letterkenny Athletic Club. And, I mean, it's a wonderful achievement, isn't it, Mairead, for any association to have that longevity?
It is indeed, yeah. We had very humble beginnings back in 1972. I think there was there was a group of senior athletes who were kind of cross-country runners and road runners, and then we had a man called Eddie Gibson who came here to Letterkenny in 1971. His daughter Regina was an athlete, and he started up the juvenile end of things. And I suppose the two kind of went, the seniors and the juveniles were kind of parallel to each other, but not much interaction between the two at that stage. But gradually, as it went on into the 1980s and that, it came together, and there was a very hard working committee through the late 70s. I'll not name anyone in case I leave others out, but they worked very hard to raise funds and to secure the track, as they called it, the new track then down at the community centre, and it took off from there.
So presumably the athletics was ongoing, there were people involved in athletics, but this gave an umbrella, a sort of an organisation to it. Would that be a fair enough assessment?
Yes, I think so. And I think what happened as well is that some of those who were juveniles in the 70s came through to become junior athletes, and then on to become senior athletes, and the two groups blended together and formed a thriving club then. It was a thriving club right through the 80s, very successful decade.
Yeah, and it kind of highlights the passing of time, and in some ways it's kind of depressing. Yes. I have, if you know what I mean, but I have in my hands, and this would, if we were here, an interview that would have been happened 25 years ago, it is a booklet to mark Letterkenny Athletics clubs from 1972 to 1997, and it was, I don't know, $250. I don't know when that was for sale, but it's just amazing. It's a window into the past, and since then, Dennis, there's another 25 years of history to add on to this book.
I wouldn't remember those were first 25 years on.
Well, I'm sure there's a picture of you in here. You're about 15.
That'll be father.
Get out of that. Come here.
We can down then Greg back, I suppose I just kind of joined the juveniles around 2016 or so. My age had been gone then, but just went down like any other parent down to help, and but it was just the club was starting to really flourish at that stage. There was all new ones coming on. There were loads of coaches. Dara Dunn would have been kind of the head coach there at that stage, and she kind of gelled everybody together. There was people, it's like Everton, everybody has their own notions, but she cracked them up. In a good way, it kept everybody right and kept everybody. And just that's the way you kind of get involved in it. Your kids go down there, you end up going down and you're standing there and somebody says, will you give a hand here?
You're at a meeting and next minute the
just
secretary
you're
or
down,
something.
like I was just down.
Yeah.
And my wee girl came over and says, Daddy, Harry can't train tonight because unless they're a parent with him. So I just went over and I started to help out, and that's just where it starts. And you get sucked into it, you just get, it's absolutely brilliant the way that you get sucked into these kids. Just
because obviously, the headlines often are the successes, and we can run through some of the famous names too. But that's maybe the public face of it and what people outside the club would see. But what it contributes is far beyond that, isn't it? In terms of giving people something to do, strengthening the sense of community morale. A club like this adds so much more than the impressive list of famous.
Absolutely. I was just looking up through some old cuttings from the papers there, and I remember reading about 1981, the most successful year to date, it said. And in that year, we had something like, the juveniles travelled they won the county track and field championships, and they won the county league, and then they went on and they won 40 medals at the Ulsters, But, in that same year, the track had just opened, and at the time, we decided to try and recruit more people from the community into the club, and we ran an inter-areas league, which was 6 areas from Letterkenny: Glencar, Lurgy Brack, kind of Rock Hill, Old Town, Main Street, and every area had to present 2 athletes per event, and one of those athletes had to be a non-athlete, if you know what I mean, and it was great fun. You had people from the town who never ran before out running and trying to compete in the 100 metres or the high jump or whatever. And from that, we recruited some people into the athletic club. And that was the era too when we started with the inter-firms road race, which was somebody's bright idea, but it was just to get each firm in the town to present 3 athletes, 3 runners to run over a 5k distance, and their placings gain points. And there used to be hundreds of people out at that, 200 people competing, and you had a team from Doherty's Butchers. They were the favourites, Doherty's Butchers. The Bacon Factory, which was there then. St Eunan's College always did very well, you see, because they had the young boys. But every year a young lad would leave college and go off to college, so they were down one, and who would they get to replace them? So there was great healthy competition.
But it also promotes participation and interest and
big
buzz
time.
and chat.
Yes. And I think in that year the club hosted something like 14 athletic events in the town at that time, and one of them being the Ulster Senior Cross Country out in Bonnygee. So it was really thriving, with the senior men and with the juveniles. And the club was up and running, a very hard working committee raising funds, and the businesses in the town supported as well too. Very good at the time, sponsorship.
And Dennis, that's not necessarily how. Let's run through some of the household names. Of course, we have to start with the double Olympian Danny McDade, Mark English, Gary Crossan, Darren McBurty, Maria McCambridge, Anna Marie McGlynn, Nikita Berg. These are all names that everyone either knows their achievements or certainly familiar with, and it's remarkable. But you don't necessarily judge the success of a club based on medals and all. It's more. It is the participation, isn't it? That's the true essence of it.
That's the getting the numbers and the fun. It's fun. As long as it's fun, the kids will come. If you can take any good product anywhere, and you do your best. All you can do is your best. The kids will show. The kids will come. The kids go down there. They love it. Sometimes I say you don't know what's behind closed doors. So it's their hour or two of freedom. Yeah. They can do whatever they want. And our group there, we've maybe 22, 23 now, and they run riot for the hour. They do what they're
burn
told
off
now.
energy.
They burn off energy. You have younger groups them, and you see them playing about, and you know what? All you hear is laughter and happiness, and you know what? That's the success. It's not the medals.
Yeah. The medals are a lovely bonus, but
you can take these kids to some clubs to come and they run the living daylights out of them and get medals. You know what? If we never won a medal, it's nice to win medals. Don't get me wrong, but if we would never won a medal, we don't care.
But then there is a time where someone turns up and you say, right, there's something different going on here. There's a talent there, and then you nurture that and bring it through and support it, don't you? And then they become the inspiration for other young people. It's self-feeding.
That's a challenge in coaching, actually, you know, to try and cater for, you know, the athlete with good talent, you know, it's good talent, the talented athlete, and the athlete who's just there to enjoy themselves, and you want to make them feel that they belong and that they're part of it too.
It's a tightrope to walk too, because
it is a tightrope to walk.
Because
as a coach,
I'm not going to ask you to talk about this, but you have to deal with parents and guardians, and we're very defensive and protective, and you know, we're keeping the close eyes on you because our little Johnny or our little Mary is the most important thing in our world. So there's a management issue there for you guys as well. Mairead, of everything, every organisation goes through cycles. There's highs and there's lows, and events like maybe the Interfirms, for some reason they don't go 1 year and then they don't go, or maybe they come back. So sort of in that cycle, that up and down curve, where is Letterkenny Athletics Club now, do you believe?
Well, I would rather Dennis answer that.
No,
he would know better than me.
You.
He would know better than me now, really. Where it seems to be thriving very well with the high numbers of its participation, really. And, you know, it's been like that through the years. You've got the highs and the troughs, you know. Like, as I said, I stepped out of it for family reasons. I had my family then in the early 90s, and I stepped back. But regardless of me having my family, it was a time that when the athletes that I had worked with, you know, I started with them about 10 or 11 years of age, and they came through to their 23 at that stage. They were moving away. Some of them went to America, some of them went to England. And it kind of was a natural low almost where the numbers went down. But then it came back again. Teresa McDade took over and did great things, and all the new coaches like
and a
Dennis
word or two, you will know about Letterkenny way more than I would, but there are drivers too in these things. Like I'm thinking of Patsy McGonigal in Finn Valley, Eamon Harvey down in South Donegal.
Eamon's a great, every time great man for athletics, and
you drive past, and he's out there in cold winter's night, standing out with them. You know what I mean? And he even tried to encourage me. The only thing he thought I was any good at was potentially throwing a javelin.
Yeah,
I know that. So I mean, he was
you
really.
That's it. You have to cater for all the talents.
But it made me feel like, well, maybe there is something.
Eamon was a fabulous man.
Do you know so it's individuals like that, and as I say, I can't speak to Letterkenny because I'm not familiar with it. But you get individuals that come through generations and maybe stay multiple generations that are brilliant at seeing potential as well as and bringing it through. Am I correct?
Yes, I remember back in the 1980s. You know, I taught in the boys' school, and at that time there used to be an inter-schools competition over in Ballybofey, and I came across a young lad who wasn't a runner. His job was really helping me taking the gear out to the field to practice. But didn't he turn out to be a good shot putter?
Yeah.
You know, and it was spotting a boy like that, or encouraging people. Keelan Ward, the footballer, you know, I encouraged him to go down and do the long jump. Spotted him at school to join the athletic club, and his dad then.
So you were the one
involved.
with an eye for it as well.
Well, I was in a position to see it, being in a school, you know. I
do not do yourself a disservice, Mairead. It's not allowed. This is my show. You had the eye. I insist.
Well, did Eamon Harvey get you? Did you get any medals for him?
Oh no, I left school before he had a chance. To be honest with you, it's another whole other story. I left school before he had a chance to but anyway.
But Greg, the likes of Eamon Harvey there and Eamon Giles there in Cranford, and even over in the Rosses at the minute, Michael Lowe.
That's it, you can pick them out.
You know, they're top, and you know what? Even Fun Valley up the road there, like you've Mark Connolly there at the Mountain, Dermot McGranahan are doing massive work up there with the kids. They're top, and I know maybe things don't run smooth with different clubs doing, but I mean they're top people. Likes of Pádraig McKenna down in Ashone. And
they're the unsung heroes, really. Those people in the background.
You know, they're the ones that do
4 and 5 days a week in weather and rain and snow.
We have the likes of our music teachers for children who express themselves in that way, and we have these people that, and it's great to hear the names mentioned, and not wishing to leave anyone, but they're sort of in that area there, and because you're competing too, because you know. You always have the children's best interests at heart, but you know, someone who's really got maybe great potential as a sprinter, and next thing you know, they're playing with the local GA club, and you don't want to hold them back. You know,
we always had that problem, with the boys. They were torn between the different sports and their
you just
years.
let them play all the sports.
That's
I remember like, just going back to this year, early on in the year, like our group, we thought myself and Paul Toner, we worked together there, and we thought our group's going to drop this year because of that age, 14, 15, 16. So we said, now look, any youth boys now. For training, forget about athletics, put it down as soccer stamina training, and keep training for your club. And I kind of rang some of the managers of the teams and said, look, and do you know what, our numbers actually went up because the boys were meeting there, they were having fun, they were training, and they didn't realise it themselves. So instead of it going down, for a change, it went up just, But
good.
we don't run the living dealers. They
But
enjoy
it's clever.
it.
You have to be clever,
Yes,
don't you?
yes.
And I have to accept that there's competing priorities and all that.
That just helps
kind of
me
stuff.
recall too. Back in the 80s, Father Leo Mahone used to take boys down from the college, the football team down from the college, to do a bit of training with me, speed work or something.
Yeah.
Before matches or whatever, to work together.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah, I mean, it would be. You'd be missing a beat not to tap into that,
That's it.
wouldn't you?
The Porrick Ryan there from St Eunice, he sent cross country. He sent his boys down to us early on this year. His training was starting at 7 o'clock. Sent them down for a while for us to get.
Yes.
And it works. It's good for everybody.
Isn't it nice heading into the next half a century in a positive place, isn't it? Because you kind of have it worked out how it, what needs to be done and how to be done. There's been amazing developments over the years. It starts off with the track, and then of course now you have the Danny McDade track at the Orr Leisure Centre. The original track was at Pierce Road beside the community centre there.
Yeah. Yes.
You would have been involved at that
Very
time,
much so,
Mairead, wouldn't you?
Yes,
Of course?
I think it was chairperson when we opened
Yep,
the club
you were
then.
chair then.
Yeah.
And where does it go from here in terms of infrastructural development? Are we where we need to be at, or is there anything in the pipeline? Are you well resourced? I mean, the Orr Leisure Centre and that track's such a fantastic facility.
Fantastic facility. And do you know what? The club is in an absolute brilliant place at the minute.
In a great position.
It's probably the biggest club I would say now at the minute, maybe in Ulster.
Yeah.
The most successful club in Ulster, the way it's going at the minute.
Yeah.
Some people mightn't agree with that, but
Well,
that's
you know
in
what?
my
They're
opinion.
not here. Stuff them. It's fine.
It's in my opinion, Letterkenny, and it's getting bigger and bigger. The adults are working together now with the juveniles, which is fabulous. We've got super juveniles coming through there.
And there's also another cohort too, the older person who wants to stay active and to exercise. Like you have in some of the older age categories, quite a good participation as well, haven't you?
Super ones there at the moment, like the All Ireland ladies team that came second, beat by a point this year. And I mean, just the girls be down there, you see them training, the boys, Owen McGinley and all that group. They're trained really hard, and the kids love to see that as well. But also the Owen McGinley and that, I'm just saying that group, they love to see the kids around the track as well. It's good because it's a bit of laughter for them. Breaks their tough session up,
And they're great role models for the kids. And I must say, it's a fantastic sport for keeping kids on the right track.
Yeah.
Socially and that. Like the young lads that I coached back in the 80s, 15, 16, they're now men in their 40s and 50s.
That's
They're
right.
still friendly.
Stand 'em in
They're
good
still
stead.
friends, best of
Well,
friends.
could I just say, I just want to just
Of
say
course,
something here
go
now.
ahead.
I was chatting to a couple of people like Paul Toner, a couple of different ones, and they were saying about Mairead here. And I would just like to say that I would like to think maybe in, say, 30 years' time, that the kids would look up to us the way Paul and them look up to Mairead. Because Paul Toner says that it was just pure joy having Mairead as a coach, and there's nothing but good memories of athletics. And that's, you've your job done when people I'll not say Paul's age, but he's
You've had that
but when
positive
they
impact
think
in
about
their
you
life.
that when they're that age, you did a good job. Mairead might never have heard that before, but I would like to put that on. That's what people feel about Mairead here.
Yeah,
now.
you're held in incredibly high regard too, and have had a positive impact on people's lives.
Well, they made their own joy too. They had a very positive impact on my life
That's
too.
exactly
They were
what I
a
was
lovely
gonna
group of
say.
athletes, and we had such fun together.
Yeah, it's a two-way
traveling around the
street.
country in buses and frosty roads and running on a flooded track a lot of the time. But
wondering what am I doing here?
What am I doing here? But I think that's what made it too. They were just a great gang.
And Mairead, I think to some extent maybe the keep fit message, the positive impacts of exercise on mental well-being, whether you're very young right through to older. I think sort of that message has caught up with the ethos of what was in that club 50 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where we have to keep the great balance between being overly competitive and participation, because you don't want the sport to be a sport that's only seen as just a sport for the elite athletes. And I think a thing about athletics too is that in terms of expense, it's not an expensive sport. Most people can participate in athletics. You get a pair of runners, a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and down you go. You don't have to have any fancy gear or anything like that. But exercise, as we all know, is so good for mental health, releases the endorphins. It's a sport that's out in the fresh air. And
Put your headphones on, Mairead, will you please? Sorry,
social
we're going to take a call. You can stick those ones on as well. Hopefully you can hear me okay, it's fine. Rosa McLaughlin is Deputy Principal at Clashja Alia in Letterkenny. Good morning to you, Rosa.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning to your guests. It's just a quick hello and a thank you to them both.
All right, so what's your interaction with these two individuals, Rosa?
Well, in particular, Mairead, I would have been one of the Paul Toner era. So I would have trained with Mairead as a teenager back in the mid and late 80s. And I suppose I'm sitting down here in Letterkenny Rugby Club this morning watching my girls out doing their development training. And there's just so many opportunities for girls in sport now. But I remember back in my day, although I was the sporty type, there was very little opportunity outside of school. And the Letterkenny Athletic Club, and in particular Mairead, because she was our coach, I had an outlet that I wouldn't have had otherwise as a young female teenager in the 80s. Something, thankfully, that's changing in sport now. But just a big thank you to Mairead and for Dennis. Dennis is a parent with us as well, and the work that's carrying on there with our young people now. It made a massive difference to my life. It was a great opportunity that I wouldn't have had, and Letterkenny Athletic Club are way ahead of their time in terms of promoting young women in sport.
Yeah, and it's good to hear you talk of, Rosa, the fact that it carries through into your life, that positive experience as a younger person, as a teenager, then goes on to have that positive impact then on your life as an adult. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, I think. Anyway, sorry to sound soppy, but I think it is.
Absolutely, and from my own experience, you carry that with you for the rest of your life. You know, you might go through a period where you stop training, but you have a confidence from those days. You can go, right, I can get back out running now. I still remember how to sprint. You know, people, when I go to the gym, people go, gosh, you're a lovely runner. And I'm going, that's because I was trained to sprint properly. I was a sprinter and a long jumper. And that's all down to Mairead. And I look at my young people now. It is shown, the evidence is there. And my own experience would be, particularly I taught in West Belfast for a long time. And sport is so important for young people, both in terms of their mental health and their physical health, but also in terms as an outlet for young people, sometimes in society where things are hard and difficult, and it gives them a positive outlet and somewhere to go and spend time in a positive way.
Well done, Rosa. Doing great work yourself too as Deputy Principal at Colashta Alia in Letterkenny, keeping it going, I suppose, to some extent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Take care, Rosa. That's nice, Mairead.
Yes.
Turned into a wee bit of a tribute show to you, this, hasn't it?
Gosh, wasn't expecting
and well deserved. What do you think, Dennis?
That's very good. That's exactly.
This is your life, Eamon Holmes or whoever it is. Eamon Andrews.
I may go now. I can go now. You don't need me.
I was nervous coming in here because I was thinking they're going to ask me facts about the 80s and I don't remember anything. As you get older, your memory goes, Greg.
You know what? Isn't it nice that it's other people's memories of your influence on them that we're hearing from?
Thank you very much to Rosa for that.
On Saturday, the Letterkenny Athletics Club will celebrate 50 memorable years in an event in the Radisson Blue in Letterkenny, kicking off with a drinks reception at 6:30. Is that sold out? What's the situation vis-a-vis attendance at that?
Probably a few tickets left there, but it's selling out really, really well now.
And who should people get in touch with?
Members of the club.
Any
there.
Member of the
it'll
club.
be on.
Okay.
So I'm not big into social media, but it'll be on social media
so,
wherever you like.
I think if you go into LAC on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll probably see where the tickets can
Listen,
be got,
both of you, thanks so much for coming in. It's been lovely.
Thank you
I think so. And I don't think it wasn't a very technical conversation, but I think it's been nice.
Thankfully.
But I think it's been nice. Do you know what I mean? Because we recognise the importance of the club. Yes. We've recognised the amazing talent it's produced, but also recognised the fact that the positive impact it has on people in participation, not just in competition.
Sport for all.
Dennis, you keep doing what you're doing. Loads of people messaging with nice words about you. So if we're both still here in 25 years, you'll get your Mairead moment. You're already getting.
I wonder what I'll be here in 25 years. That's the question.
I have no doubt you will. I have no doubt you will. Mairead Hennessy, former chair and former coach, and someone clearly very passionate, and someone who had such an amazing impact on so many people. Thanks so much for calling in, and enjoy Saturday night.
I will indeed.
It won't match this now. And Dennis Shields, juvenile coach. Listen,
thank you very much, Greg.
Thanks so much for calling in, and keep doing your amazing work as too, because that's clear the impact it's having on people.
And if anybody's free on Saturday, the Masters is on down at O'Donnell Park, and the kids are doing relay races. Anybody wants to go out, and anybody's welcome down to the Letterkenny Athletic Club to join.
No, that's clear. So that's clear. It's a really open, welcoming place.
What time is that, Dennis, on Saturday? What time?
I think it starts at 11.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Brilliant stuff.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll get the head cleared for Saturday night. Yeah. We'll be back with more after the break. Stay where you are.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Auctioneers, estate agents, letting agents and property management agents operating in the Republic of Ireland must hold a Property Services Regulatory Authority PSRA licence. An auctioneer may auction land, fine arts, antiques or animals at a mart. When engaging an agent, don't assume your agent is licensed. Check the PSRA register of licensed agents at psr.ie. Unlicensed agents are breaking the law. Report unlicensed operators to info@psr.ie. Remember, no PSRA licence, no PSRA consumer protection.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Sporting games at home this Christmas. BCE and Riley pool tables for all the family in 5 and 6 foot options. Easy to assemble with easy folding options. 2-piece and 1-piece pool and snooker cues. Unicorn dartboards, the ideal Christmas pastime. Give the gift of sport this Christmas, in-store and online at bmcsports.ie.
Are you looking for a great gift for a wine lover this Christmas? In the Cellar Off licence at Kelly Centra, Letterkenny, there's great value in choice wines, reds and whites from around the world, including great value gift packs. Also, selected boxes of beer, 20 packs from just €22, and many more amazing offers for Christmas at Kelly Centra, Mountain Top, Letterkenny. The 2022 C-Store National Off Licence of the Year. Drink alcohol responsibly. See drinkaware.ie.
Work's annual Chris Kindle just 2 days away. Wait, no, it's today. And you got Kira nothing. You could gift her the stapler. Nah, that won't work. Chocolate? Nah. Why not really make their day with an all-cash scratch card from the National Lottery? With millions in cash prizes to be won instantly, you'll be on to a winner with an all-cash scratch card as a Chris Kindle present. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
I'm nipping to Super Value. Okay, tea, mince pies, weekly voucher on my app. Oh, and a brand new car.
Your trip to Super Value could look even better with our new Real Rewards Scan to Win monthly prize draw. Every scan of your Real Rewards card equals one chance to win. This December, you could win a brand new Kia Niro hybrid car, a family trip to Disneyland, a prize in every Super Value, and more. So, start scanning. T's and C's apply. See supervalue.ie for full details and how to enter the draw.
Wrap up some Donegal love this Christmas with thoughtful, sustainable gifts made by the Donegal designer makers. Join us for our annual Christmas fair in Rathmullen House this Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. A weekend of festive food, drinks and stress-free gift shopping.
All right, loads of you entering our competition. We're trying to find out the missing word from Lee Gooch's breakfast show.
The item that most of us have far too many of
is what? Time in our hands. Lots of guesses coming in. Just time for Anthony in Rathmullen. Anthony Canning, what do you believe it is? Good morning to you, Anthony.
Good morning, Greg. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
I believe it's mugs.
It's not mugs. It's not mugs, but you've got a mug, a 9 till noon show mug, Anthony. We're going to get that out to you. These are limited edition, so you're not a loser. Don't forget, you can enter again tomorrow if you have another guess, okay? We're going to give people another chance tomorrow. Anthony, have a lovely day. It's not mugs. We've had clothes, shoes, all manner of things, but not the right answer yet that we can bring on air.
The item that most of us have far too many of is...
What is the answer? You can keep entering. We're going to return to it tomorrow. One of you is going to win a €100 Shop LK voucher. Let's get a quick break and then the weather.
The 9 till noon show with the multi-award winning Silver Tassie Hotel, planning dream weddings for generations. Email weddings at silvertassiehotel.ie for a brochure or private show around.
At Very, it's easy to share the love this Christmas. We've got the brands they want, the best gifts for every budget, plus free click and collect on most small items. Which means all your shopping sorted. And a very Merry Christmas to you. Shop Christmas at very.ie.
At Ulster Bank, we have now begun to close current and deposit accounts. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. You must take action now. If you are still relying on your personal or business bank account and in need of support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Tommy Fleming returns to the Millennium Forum Derry on Friday 24th of February. Hear Tommy and his full band perform all his Irish folk and contemporary classics. Tickets from the millenniumforum.co.uk. Concert tickets make an ideal Christmas gift. Tommy Fleming at the Millennium Forum.
Merry Christmas from Cost Cutter. Celebrate with Fox's Biscuit Selection and McVitie's Victoria Assortment, 2 for €11. Pringles Selected Range, only €2. Cadbury's and Nestle Selection Boxes, now 2 for €11. iHeart, McGuigan and Torres Selected Wine, just €8 each. Cost Cutter, proud to be local. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale extended until Sunday.
The award-winning warehouse bar and kitchen, Main Street Letterkenny, has your Christmas all wrapped up. There's no better place to celebrate this Christmas with festive cocktails, bottomless brunch, Christmas food, drinks and much more. Letterkenny's best lit bar is your party destination this festive season, with great live music and DJs throughout December. Book your table now at Warehouse Bar and Kitchen.
Whatever the weather, Christmas shopping in Letterkenny will brighten your December. The Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sorry about running a bit late on this. Sunny spells for this afternoon. Wintry showers becoming confined to northern coastal counties. Highest temperatures of just 1 to 4 degrees. We do have to dash off. John is going to be a minute late. The news is going to be a minute late. My apologies. I just mixed up my timings. I'm just not going to lie to you. Back with more on the 9 till noon show tomorrow morning at 9. John Breslin's coming up after the slightly delayed news after 12.
Dental nurse required.